Hello everybody. Hey, it's me, it's Andy Decayed Andy here. We've got Big D, we're in pre-show. Hey Big D.
Hey.
How's it going? You doing okay?
I'm doing alright. Yourself?
Tired, but apart from that, not too bad. I'll put Blitzwing back down next to you so you can hang out with him.
Hey.
A little bigger as well. There you go. There you go. Just a
Howdy.
Oops.
Rabbit dances on your rotting hair.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a good place for him to dance. God damn it, give me the right... Not the background, fucker. There it is, there's Blitzwing. I need him eating his little Energon snack so he's happy. I thought Ravage was in a good place just dancing on my head. He looks happy, at least.
It does look quite amusing.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like him, too. I see Mr. White's in chat. Hello, Mr. White.
Hey, dude.
Oh, are you two going to do a show on secret level Warhammer thing?
Ooh.
At some point. I still need to watch it, but...
We probably should do.
Did you ever get around to doing Pariah Nexus? Or have you not done that yet either?
That's a good point. We should probably go through for some of the Warcom offerings at some point.
Yeah. Pariah Nexus it's fine.
It's weird. I've not watched most of the last year and a half of Warhammer Plus stuff, mainly because I've been trying to watch it on my TV and the website no longer seems to work with the built-in web browser on my telly.
Oh, really? Oh, damn, that sucks.
Yeah, similar thing happened with Crunchyroll until they rolled the app out. But
weird. I wonder if you can just get a peripheral, third-party thing to kind of jig around it or something.
I might just have to take another stab at it because it's been a while since I've tried it. So
yeah,
it might work again.
If you're paying for Warhammer Plus, you may as well, just to get your use out of it or extra use out of it.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Well, shall we get on to pooping? Get on to the poop test for today?
We might as well.
All right, I will play the music and then we can talk about some fucking Cybertron toys.
Yay!
All right, music time.
Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Decayed Andy here. I'm joined by Big D this week, and we are here to talk about Transformers Galaxy Force, or Cybertron as it's also known. Hello, Big D.
Sorry, I just saw how large Ravage got, and it scared me.
Yeah, he was big dancing. Big dancing kitty cat. He's back on my head, normal sized.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah. He's massaging my brain. He's getting the dandruff off my skull.
Actually, I like that as an explanation.
There you
go. His dance of brain power.
Yeah, well, it's there are all these beauty products that you get to exfoliate your skin. All you need is a little robot cat to dance on the top of your head, and the dandruff just falls away. It's not just Head and Shoulders. It's not just because I'm worth it. It's because I have a robot cat in my head. Simple. It makes sense, I'm sure.
It does.
Does it? Does it actually? I don't think it does, but it's fun to pretend.
It makes about as much sense as anything we waffle about, doesn't it?
True. Yeah. As I say, we're going to be talking about Galaxy Force this week. There was I don't know if there's any news this week.
There wasn't. I had a quick check, and I think the only thing was one of the Hasbro designers posted some more pictures of Primus or Primer.
Oh, Primer Prime. Yeah, I saw them. I was like,
in more poses, which. Yeah, it's more poses. Great.
Still not impressed, personally. Ugly vehicle mode, kind of boring robot mode. But, people will buy them. They'll love them. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, we're a week, 2 weeks from Crimblemas time.
Yeah.
We're not going to get anything. We're probably not going to get anything until next year, to be honest. But we'll see. You never know. Some news might slide on out. Maybe.
But hey, it's a great time to do some more range reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Though we are slowly running out of ranges, to be honest. We've got it's Galaxy Force, then it's animated, then it's Prime, then it's RID again, a different RID, then it's Cyberverse.
Have you done classics?
Oh, no, technically, no. No, we could do the classics. I was just thinking about the cartoon series stuff. Yeah, there's classics.
Yeah.
And Universe and all that jazz, which went
Yeah.
on for ages. Yeah, the Chug stuff.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Maybe. And for movie lines, you done any of those?
No. Yeah, I guess we could talk about the movie stuff. Ugh. Ugh. The problem, the thing with the movie stuff is I don't know a lot about the movie line because I dipped out. I got in really hard. Lads, with the first movie line. I like ordered them before they came out, kind of thing, from I guess China or something, and they weren't great when I got them. I was like, okay. I think I dipped a little bit into the second one, a little bit more into 3 because I was in America at the time, and I was like, fuck it, let's buy some toys. And I just didn't get anything else after that. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I've got a few bits from 1, a few bits from 2, and a few bits from 3, and then I think I bought maybe a couple of Dinobots from 4, and that was it.
Yeah.
I've bought a couple of more recent movie figures just because they're nicer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In a while.
So yeah, actually, we might not do the movie line just because I don't have any of them really practically.
That's fair.
It's hard to really talk about a toy line that you've had pretty much no involvement with. Apart from me going, I think it looks bad. I see Nathaniel in chat. Hey, Nathaniel. Hope you're doing well today.
Hey.
Shall we get on and talk about Galaxy Force / Cybertron? How did you collect these, actually? Did you collect them primarily as Cybertron or Galaxy Force? Because I had most of them as Galaxy Force, apart from the random outliers.
I got mine as Cybertron, because I was mainly picking bits up from... Actually, I say mainly. I actually only bought one Cybertron set brand new. Actually, no, 2 brand new, as they were being released.
Right.
And that was the Toys R Us Starscream and Vector Prime set. And Primus.
The Toys R Us Vector Prime, which one was that?
Was
that the brown one or the white one?
The white one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The one in the 2-pack with the Dirge-coloured Starscream.
Yeah. That was a really shit Vector Prime.
The rubber on the wings is what did me into that one.
Rubber on the wings, wonky sword, completely off color scheme. Well, we'll get to it because I think he's in this list. I'll mention as well, we've split this into 2 parts, or we will be splitting this into 2 parts because there's a lot to talk about, lots of figures to go through, and I didn't want to do all of them in one go, so I thought, fuck it, we can do part 2 next week because there'll be no news either, realistically. You know?
But the rest of my Cybertron stuff is I either bought it secondhand because when I got back into collecting properly. So that's how I got most of it, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then most of the other stuff is various repaints that were done.
Okay.
Which we shall get to.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. We're going to start off, obviously, we're going to go Scouts, basics, that kind of thing. Then Deluxes, Voyages, Leaders. Ultras and Leaders, I think it was. I think they still technically had Ultras in this line. And Leaders are classed as like Leader Starscream, which is the planet Starscream, and Primus. So we're going to start off with Scrap Metal, one of the drones. I had all 3 because I have the Japanese versions. I have the red, the blue, and the yellow. What's the difference between them? One's red, one's yellow, one's blue. I don't know why they never did the blue one in America, but for some reason they just didn't bother with him. Or
even doing a triple set of all 3.
Yeah, because in Japan there were individual purchases. It wasn't even a 3-pack there. But at least in Japan you had the option to get them all, I suppose.
I see they've got another option down there as well for the Kobe bot, which is the one he hijacked, I gather.
That's right, that was from the Japanese series as well, from Galaxy Force only. They don't have a picture of it, oddly enough. It had a remolded head, so it had a different head to the other ones. So it looked like the one from the show. I think he came in a 2-pack with someone else as well. Okay.
I did like how that one got a bit of a cameo in that special video they did a month or 2 back.
Yeah, it was weird to see him randomly pop up.
Yeah, but
I tell you what set he was in. I think he was in the translucent gift set with Galaxy Force Prime, Sonic Bomber, or whatever he was called in this show. And I think he was like an extra bonus figure in the set. But I could be wrong.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was the case.
I mean, it sounds like the sort of thing they would have done, to be fair.
Probably. What did we think of this mold then? This weird spider tank thing? Dude?
I think it's adorable. I mean, I own 2 of the red ones and 1 of the yellow because I got the first one. I was like, oh, I like this. I want to swarm. He gave me Big Zoid's transfer Spider Zoid vibes. To be fair,
yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, it is kind of a spider tank.
Yeah,
thing.
It's kind of like, it's not quite there, but it gave me that same sort of juju, which I quite enjoyed, and it was just just fun because it's a spider tank which actually stands on its legs more or less, which is a novelty, whatever the range.
Yeah, even if it is like all ball jointed, it's like you say, it's able to hold its own weight. And for a Cybertronian kind of design, I think this is perfectly fine. I think this looks like enough like a vehicle that even though it's like, but it's a spider tank. This isn't what spiders look like. This is what tanks look like. I'm like, no, I think this is perfectly okay. This works.
Yeah.
Everything pegs together fairly well, and the transformation from this to robot mode, pretty nice, simplistic, and even the robot mode's okay for the most part. There's only one thing which I was never like 100% behind, and it's the weird round wheel bits on the back of the pointy bits of the legs.
Yeah.
It's like an extra joint, but they're not wheels. Are they meant to be wheels?
I think that was the intent, but it was supposed to suggest that it could actually go into a wheeled mode. I don't know if it ever did in the cartoon because I never really watched the show. But
they never had wheels on the front legs. So it only had like wheels on the 2 back legs.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. It's like, again, like you say, if they had the wheels on the front, then like you, I'd be like, oh, it's like a weird, car mode wheelie thing. Okay, whatever. But no, it's just on the back legs. Sorry, the main arms. Oh, another thing you can like complain about, I think, is he has the gorilla kind of arm crunch, just because of the way the ball joints are worked out. So he can't actually bend his arm normally, which is a bit of a problem. He is a basic, he is a scout, but it is a bit of a shame.
It is. I mean, he's a good upside though. Lovely colours in all the versions.
Yep.
The shoulder cannon, it looks quite nice and chunky in its own right in vehicle and robot mode. It's got the fun fact that it also turns into a freaking great bayonet over his shoulder, which I just find adorable. Yeah,
or you can pull off the sword and just put it in his hand as well. It's just like a standard energy sword, but you know what I mean, standard sword.
I can't remember if I knew that you could do that or not, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just like pegged into the yellow or orange part, depending on which color you have. So you can just unpeg that and just put it in his hand.
I'm annoyed now that I can't actually get to either of my versions to have a fiddle with it, because I can see them, I just can't get to the buggers.
At least with the Japanese ones you can. I don't know if in America they I mean, they could have glued them in America. I don't know. I don't think they did.
I'll be honest, I don't think I ever tried to remove it, so...
To be fair, you don't look at it and go like, oh yeah, I just like... Because why would you take the sword out? Because if you take the sword out, then you've just got this like impotent gun that doesn't fire, that's like just empty. So it does look kind of weird, but it's nice that he has a little sword on hand as well.
Yeah, but nice little troop builder. I like when you get drones like this that are fun and honestly, for the most part, when I was picking him up, they were always relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean, basics scouts at that time were like what, £8,
something like that. But
less.
Even on the aftermarket, I've never really had. It's never really been too hard to pick them up.
No. Well, apart from the blue one because it was the exclusive one. Or Cody as well, I suppose. Yeah.
It is one of those sets of it's one of those ones I would, if Hasbro did a re-release of these, I'd quite happily buy another set of them.
I'm actually surprised Hasbro never did like repaints of these into like Insecticons.
That's a very good point, actually.
Or deluxe ones at the very least.
Yeah.
It's odd. But no, I like these guys. They're a lot of fun. Even the weird, bizarre head design with the weird faces on them, I like them. I think they're a solid figure. Still worth picking up now, I would say, if you want one.
Absolutely. If you want some little goombas.
We have a message from Nathaniel. He says, I know you guys got your program planned in place, so feel free to ignore this. Never. Question.
Planned?
Mostly. Question if you don't have time. I'm just curious why Optimus Prime's group always calls themselves Autobots outside of the obvious when they are in our, in quotations, timeline. Granted, my personal knowledge is from the original cartoon series, which I don't remember very well, since I was only some episodes from when I was very young, and from the movies. I don't recall if Optimus Prime's group referred to themselves as Autobots all the time, or just in specific series. I just always have known them as the Autobots, and can't recall if they call themselves that on Cybertron as well, or if they just if there is a meaning outside of the more obvious automobile transformations. So they've always been called Autobots. That's a thing. Yep. I remember I think it was the movies, they called themselves Autonomous something. I think they acronymed it in the movie because it was just like, whatever. Oh, apparently Mr. White says, I think this is all down due to Bob Budiansky. Yeah, probably comic man Bob Budiansky. Yeah. No, they've always been called Autobots. The race are Cybertronians, and then there's Autobots and Decepticons.
Yeah, I mean, the only time they ever changed it was for, well, in Japan it was Beast Wars, Max Wars, and Predacons. Yeah. In Japan it was Destrons and
Cybertron.
Yep. Like you said, Mr. White said, well, like you said, the movie did give one version. There's been versions in some of the comics where they've come up with explanations for why they're called Autobots. And it's just kind of stuck, you know?
Yeah.
It's the good guy name.
It's what we say is branding. And when you have branding, you do not break from branding. No matter how many children they threaten, they will not break from branding.
God, no.
That's how it works. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another Scout figure. This is Overhaul, who I don't desperately like, I'll be honest. Not a big fan of Overhaul. He is. I don't remember what his Japanese name was, unless it says
Jackshot.
Jackshot. Thank you. Yes,
which is unfortunate.
Yes, I think it's a little bit of a better name, apart from the sexual, connotations there. I think Jackshot is. I don't think it's as good as Jackpot. The classic Action Master name. Jackpot's a better name.
Yeah.
But Overhaul just feels like a background character name.
I mean, is it better than his other repaint as Brushguard?
Brushguard. Brushguard is not a happy name. Oh yeah, Cybertron Brushguard, the blue one.
Yeah, and for some reason, Movie Warpath, which I didn't realize was.
Wow, they just fucking did anything with the movie line sometimes, didn't they? Yeah, make him orange. He's Warpath. What do you mean he's a Warpath? Who fucking cares? Whatever.
Yeah.
Did it. What was your opinion on Overhaul Jackshot then, Big D? What do you think of him?
Well, I never owned him myself. Gosh, those arms are unfortunate, aren't they?
Yeah. At a constant kind of London
it's
bouncer.
Like yeah, very, very Popeye arms.
Yes, yeah. They're all like the elbows pointed outwards forever and forever. It's weird. I like his Wolverine claws. That's fun.
Yeah, that's a fun idea. I mean, if he just had an extra joint in the arms, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, straighten them out. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I always had a problem with how high the head sat on the chest as well.
Because
it looks like...
Did that fold over the top from the back?
Yes. Yeah, the head stored in the back wheel, and you just kind of flip it over. It doesn't even like solid click into position. It's kind of rested, so it almost like his head floats on top of his like shoulder area. It always looked weird, like he had a really long neck, like an uncannily long neck. Also, like his gimmick was he had a missile going through his chest all the way out to the back, so there's a big long stick coming out of his back, which wasn't ever desperately good either. Very simple Cybertron planet key. You just stuck it in his back and he shot the missile out of his chest, but they were always kind of the half-assed ones, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, the way the missile sits in his chest actually looks quite nice, but that's because you can't see the rest of it sticking out his back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's he kind of highlights the problems with the Cybertron line, really, where sometimes budget and gimmick got in the way of what could have been a fairly decent design. Because
I still think it's a pretty decent
it's almost
design,
fair.
Yeah, it's still pretty.
It's
decent.
almost fair,
and
it's just.
I wouldn't even say that the gimmick hampers the robot that much, because what are you going to do with the chest anyway? There's not a huge amount.
I mean, honestly, you could clip the missile down to fit it in if you were that inclined.
Yeah,
and just leave it as is.
My main issues are, like we said, the elbows and how high the neck is. That's pretty much it. I don't mind it. The transformations, fine. I don't think it's quite. I mean, fun is a very subjective thing. I don't think it's quite as fun as the drones that we just talked about. But again, it's like it's fine. It's all right.
I do like how his arms are actually mounted to the wing pieces, whereas the sides of his cab are folded out. But it's something we've seen a little bit recently with things like Kingdom, Rat Trap, and a few other figures using that. And it's not doesn't always work great, but it's a neat solution. I like from when they try and do that. It shows them getting a bit inventive with the engineering.
I'm not a big fan of them doing it because a lot of the time it just doesn't work. Here, it's 2006. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They're about it's as articulated as a basics figure in 2006 is going to be, but generally, I think it when you notice that the arms are not connected to the torso, it's one of those weird things. Because imagine you saw a guy,
and you can't unsee it.
Yeah. If you saw a guy in the street and his arms weren't attached to his torso, but they were kind of floating behind him, attached to his coat, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a bit fucking weird. What's going on there?" That's
true.
Odd. What's your favorite of the repaints? Do you prefer like standard Jack Shot, or do you like Movie Warpath? Because Movie Warpath's not bad. He's pretty good color scheme, I'd say.
I mean, that isn't actually a bad color scheme they've done for Warpath. It's got that powder blue they used for that phase of movie for the Energon effect. Because
it was the Allspark blue, if I remember.
That was it. Yeah, it was Allspark Power, wasn't it?
That's right. It was the second wave to reinvigorate and like go, oh, hey, we need some repaints in the line. Here you go. This'll do.
That was a weird phase because it had repaints and also a surprise number of original sculpts in there as well.
I'm assuming that those were designs that just weren't used for the movie, and they were just like, we'll make a toy of it, whatever.
Quite a few of them showed up in the video game, though.
Loads of them showed up. Like, I think nearly all of the Decepticon drones show up there.
Yeah, they did.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I think Warpath might actually be the best paint job of the three, to be fair. Overhaul is clearly going for a bit of a broad color scheme with his designs, like green, red, tan. Brushguard is kind of so Decepticon it almost hurts.
Is he Decepticon? I don't even know. Like, maybe, kinda.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I mean, he does have Decepticon insignia on him. I mean, color scheme wise, I look at him and go, I don't know. I think they wasted the color of the missile. The missile just blends in with the rest of the chest, so it just kind of goes, well, fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. Yeah, I think I'm happy to say Movie Warpath's the better version, I think. I don't mind Overhaul Jack Shot. I think it's an okay color scheme. Yeah. Not the best. But
Overhaul, I think I prefer how his missile looks in the chest. Because he's got that silver paint and the crystal red of the missile around the black. That was kind of nice. The others, the missile isn't quite as nice. But
the other two don't have the edge highlighting like the original toy does, funnily enough.
Yeah. But the rest of the color scheme kind of helps solve that. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We got Scattershot next. Who's again okay, pretty good.
Yeah.
He's an interesting little transformation, but he's not a very articulated figure. Like his hips only move out to the sides, and he has no knee joints, so his legs are pretty static. Especially like even for like 2006. He doesn't have a lot of leg articulation. His arms can move out. They're on a kind of a universally kind of joint, and they swivel around. And he's got ball joints for his shoulders. Elbows, and he's got a swivel in the neck. So it's fine. No waist joint, obviously, either. But
no, but he does make up for it by being hideously overarmed.
Yes, especially for like a guy this small.
I know. I don't think there's been a scout class figure this heavily armed since that I can think of. Not off the top of my head.
Maybe not. You might be right. I don't want to say that's 100% sure, but I mean, he does have his wheel, 4-barrel machine guns on each shoulder. He has the two giant missiles, and then he has the 19
rockets that show up.
Yeah, the SAM missiles on his backs. So it's like, yeah, he's got a decent amount. I actually like his Cyberplanet key force chip gimmick. Like, it just opens up more SAM missile pods. That's kind of fun. Yeah. I think it does look a little bit awkward hoofing the big missile thing over his back. He can stand with it, but again, it looks a little bit on the weird side, and he is just like a weird little robot who can't really do a huge amount. He's very good for a shelf. He's perfect for a shelf. He just stands. He's very good at standing.
He has a bit of fun though, just being this small. Because isn't he kind of like a bit of a nerd on the team? He's not actually.
I think so. I think he's that Wheeljack or something.
Yeah, the most neurotic Autobot ever created, and he's very heavily armed. Gosh, that's not a worry.
That's why he's heavily armed. You're going to talk about him behind his back? You're going to not like his spaghetti bolognese? Well, he's just going to gun you down. I don't know what to tell you.
True.
His vehicle mode's actually quite fun as well. It's a tank-treaded, heavy artillery vehicle again, kind of futuristic-y kind of vehicle, and it's like, it looks pretty good.
I always like seeing a good half-track in Transformers because they're not that common.
They're not, and I think they like those kind of vehicles with just like treads on the back look pretty good. They look fun. I mean, it's not practical, but these are toys. They're not meant to be practical. They're meant to be fun.
Ew. Exactly.
It's nice that the turret spins as well. That's good. I find it weird that with Jackshot or Overhaul, he had a spring-loaded missile in his chest, but this guy here, Scattershot, he's got 2 push missiles for some reason. Like his missiles on his back, you push them and they pop forward. Push missiles are shit. Generally, they're not very good. Sometimes you can get good ones. I don't find a lot though.
No, I think it's the trade-off to get the spring-loaded reveal of the rocket launches. To be fair,
you're probably right. He did also come with an extra gun, like another anti-aircraft double-barreled gun, which you plop on the
because he didn't have enough firepower already.
Well, why not? And again, it's just like he's more guns for the vehicle mode, and he can also hold the gun as well. Not the most crazy transformation. He does kind of stand up and unfold his arms. It's okay. It's all right. I like the fact that the tank treads kind of fold in across the shins. That's kind of a nice look. Is there anything that stands out to you on this guy?
Already, just that he's a nice, fun little dude.
Yeah, not great. I still think if we're talking if we were going to rank them, so far the drone's on the top. Scattershot's better than Overhaul, though. I like him more than Overhaul.
I'd agree with that. Yep.
Yeah. And I think we have a few. Do we not have any repaints of him?
It doesn't look like he does, which I'm genuinely surprised by.
I'm sure he did. Maybe they're just not listed here. Because as we go through TFU, it gets harder and harder. They get, because I think the site's just not used anymore. Or at least updated. So I don't think this is entirely true.
It's surprising because, I mean,
let me check.
For movie and universe lines rated Cybertron something rotten for molds.
Yeah. I'm going to check the TF wiki just to make sure. We also have Jai in chat. Hi, Jai. He is my resident man. Jai is the one holding my hand through the process. He's saying this is a good thing you buy, and I go, okay.
Yep, he's the one we blame.
Yeah. If anything goes wrong and I die from poison inhalation, it will be Jai's fault. Please remember, Jai was the one that killed me. Maybe not deliberately, but certainly by accident in some description. Oh, he did not have a repaint. He was in a universe triple box set, but he was just the same fucking colors.
That's right, he was. I'm genuinely surprised by that. Genuinely.
Yeah, same. Yeah, and I don't see any. I'll pull it up on screen. Yeah, I don't see any. It doesn't say specifically like, oh yeah, he got another repaint in this. He was in too. It says Universe Scattershot as well. 2023 Scout class. The original Scattershot toy. It doesn't say it was recolored.
Yeah.
It was just KB Toys. So I
Yeah.
guess for some reason, which is odd because I would have thought you could do him in like military colors, right?
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
like
I mean,
olive greens,
his
browns.
upgrade got 2 different military colors.
That was a really good toy, though.
It was a fucking brilliant toy.
Nothing against this, but the Voyager is a lot better than this. It's really good. We'll get to it, obviously. Let's hop over to the next one, which is Ransack, who's oddly enough a really satisfying bike transformer. It's one of the, especially for the time, 2006. It was the best bike transformer, especially at this size class.
Yeah, very rare as well. That
very rare because it was hard to do him. The only thing that makes him a little bit wonky is he's got a little bit anorexic-y kind of legs. Like if you're a lady, you wish you had like feminine legs like these. Let me tell you.
But it does give you a absolutely cracking bike mode, though.
It's not your like standard motorbike either. I don't want to say, it seems too cliche to say it's an Akira styled bike, and it is red, so it's easy to say it's an Akira styled bike.
There's a bit of Akira, but there's also quite a bit of Tron to that design.
Yeah, I agree, especially with the wheel design.
Yeah,
I do. The wheels are the maybe the best part, just because they're not, but they're aping the floating wheel design. Is that what you call it? Floating wheel design?
Yeah. It's the I know the exact term for this, and I've forgotten. It's not floating wheel. It's floating axle.
There we go. Okay, yeah. It's definitely trying to ape that. Doesn't do it perfectly, but it looks really good. It looks really good. Really good.
It does.
Transformations, again, not too complex. Pretty fun, pretty simple for a scout class. His Cyber Planet Key Force Ship Ignitions, a little boring, and he does cheat a little bit with the bike mode because, like, just his arse in bike mode is a gun.
Yeah.
And he needs to use the Force Ship to even use the gun. So before then, he just couldn't really do anything. And it does mean that he has a really obnoxiously large gun for the robot mode, which he can't hold because he's got ball joints for his elbows. So there's just no way he can hold it.
I know, but for some reason, whenever I've had a Cybertron figure like that, I just can't help but chuckle because it's just so goofily funny that they have this massive gun and they can't hold it.
Yeah. It's just the way it is.
Don't get angry, just laugh because it's just so
it's 2006,
comical. Exactly.
If it's 2024 and they do that with the designs, you're like, oh, come on, guys.
Then you're a little more, but this...
Yeah,
it's just such fun.
Yeah. I like the design. Where would you put him above Scattershot? I think no. I'd put him above Scattershot. I think he's better than Scattershot.
I think that's fair. I think that's right.
Again, the only thing is his legs are really aggressively thin, and the feet designs are a little weird, especially how they do the heels, because he doesn't really sit on his feet. He more like sits on his tippy toes, and he has back tippy toes as well. So it's not like a big flat foot.
Yeah, Ransack's the dude at the gym who is spending all his time on the bench press and doesn't do leg day at all.
Yeah.
He considers it an option.
Well, yeah, he likes to wear his high heel shoes. That's the pose he likes to do, personally. Which is like fair enough. He did get a couple of repaints. Gasket, which is his Japanese version, which was pretty similar. There's the Gasket Police prototype, which is the white and black one, but then he's got some tampo on the front of his windscreen and some tampo on his gun, which probably says police on the back there. It says police on the front. This one's actually pretty nice. It's very, there's not much to it. But I like the fact that he's got green eyes as well. So it's just primarily white, black, and then these nice little green eyes, which looks pretty good. There's the GTS version of Ransack as well, which is black and gold and a bit of white, which I had this one. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's a version I have somewhere as well.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice. Yeah.
I don't think it's the best of them, but I think in terms of like interesting repaints, I think this is a fairly nice and interesting repaint.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is still standard Gasket Ransack, and then the police type, and then the GTS. What do you say?
I'd be the hipster and say I really like the Rat Trap repaint for BotCon, but no one actually owns that. Anyone who says they own a copy, I will demand that they prove it. Because that set was really hard to find.
Which set was it? This would have been the 2007 set, wouldn't it?
2006, the Beast Wars Prelude one.
Yeah, good luck.
Just when people were starting to realize, oh, these are fantastic sets.
Yeah, because which was the set that had Death Zaurus in, and it was made out of RID Megatron, and they had Universe Ironhide in twice.
I think that was a year prior.
Yeah, because that's not a good set. That's a rough set.
No, but it is quite desirable because it kind of got people's eyes on things.
Yeah, it was
and then this one came around and people were like, because they used a lot of really good Beast Cybertron designs for everyone.
That's right. Well, and then they had like Dinobot with like Long Rack. Oh yeah, not Long Rack. What was he called from Armada? He was the excavator. Long Arm. Well,
yeah.
Long Arm. Like that was a weird one. But
it was.
A lot of good ones used. Like again, Rat Trap, like you say, is a really good solid choice. Makes sense. They didn't even have to remold anything because the head with the cap design.
Yeah,
that kind of just works in itself.
It does.
Yeah. So that's them. We can move on to Short Round. You know what the bad thing is about TFU here, Big D? And it's they're missing his third mode. Do you know what this guy's third mode was?
I don't, and I actually own this guy still, so I'm intrigued. Let
me find it. Because I remember I picked it up specifically because of his secret third mode. It's called Short Round. Transformers Short Round. It's not detected.
This doesn't be something like he has a secret Gerwalk mode, is it?
Oh no, it's better than a Gerwalk mode. There it is. Put it on screen. There you go. That's a secret mode. What do you think of that, Big D?
Hang on. Have you put it on?
Yeah.
Is it shown on for YouTube? Because I can't see it.
It should be.
Oh, there we are.
There you go.
Oh, Lord.
It's got a secret toilet mode.
Oh, dear.
He can turn into a shitter. Isn't that cool?
That's hilarious, actually.
I think he was probably the first official transforming toilet, even though it was an alternate mode. Then later on, like more recently, we've had third-party companies do urinal transformers. Yeah, there you go. That was his alt mode. Well, a third one at least. That's why I got him.
Oh, that's funny.
You're gonna have to try and put him into it,
I've got to find him first.
Well, that's the problem. What do you think of Short Round? Because I think he's a pretty interesting design, and he's better than shitty Sea Spray, like color scheme wise and how he operates.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even object to his hilariously oversized arms because they just kind of add to his personality. But he's just this kind of loon.
Makes me think of oh god, what was his name from the Snake Men from Masters of
the
Universe?
yeah. Lasher, I think it was.
Lasher. It gives me Lasher vibes. Is it silly? Yes. Is it a restriction that they added because of how he transforms? Yes. Do I mind? Not really.
No.
Not really, because it does make him more unique that he looks like
Absolutely.
This.
Yeah, because everything else about him is actually kind of.
Jai says it's Squeeze. Squeeze.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Lash. Oh yeah, Lasher was the tongue dude.
That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you, Jai.
I hate that I know that.
Jai will call you on it. Jai's the master's man here. But for a floating boat thing, it's pretty good. The Cyberplanet key thing's shit. He just put the thing in his back and two little missiles flop forward on his engine column. It's crap, but it's unobtrusive, I suppose you could say. Yeah.
And he's got a nice looking gun. He can actually, he can hold it kind of sideways.
Yeah, he holds it gangster style, which maybe you can. Maybe you can respect. He has decent articulation as well. He just doesn't have a lot of like shoulder movement for, obvious reasons. But yeah, I think this one's really good. He did get a redo, apparently, which I don't remember, into a much worse color scheme, I think. Storm Surge.
Ooh. Oh, yes. This might be the version I actually have.
It's so
this
boring.
I think this is one of the movie 2 packs, I think. He might have come with Plocker, I want to say.
2008 reassigned. It'll probably say somewhere where he's from, but I can't be bothered to find out, to be honest. It'll be somewhere on here. But yeah, I don't like this version.
I might be wrong, but
I don't like this version. It's very boring, very flat, especially compared to the short cake version, which we'll call him short cake.
Yeah, Short Round's got some nice colours to him.
Yeah,
Stormster,
purple,
like
white,
a little,
baby blue, black, yellow highlights. It's like nice.
Yeah.
Maybe the other version should have been painted up like one of our like lifeboats, so it's just like bright orange and blue, dark blue. Yeah. Maybe that would.
I mean, I like the orange on his turbines. That's quite nice, but the rest of the game is kind of it's there.
Yeah, I think that was the problem with some of the movie lines. They were just like realistic-y kind of color schemes, and that kind of made them less special in a way. Some of them
did. It really did.
Some of them worked, some of them didn't, and this was one that didn't. But Short Round, I like this more than Gasket, so I'd put this above Gasket as well, but not above the drones.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm down with that.
Yeah, he was just fun. Lots more fun to transform. Doesn't have the weird proportions on this one feel more deliberate than just like skinny girly legs, I think.
Yeah.
Again, maybe copium. I'm not sure. One that won't be up high on the list, who will go further down, is Undermine, or as he was known in Japan, Dino Shout, which maybe a better name. I don't know. He was a little differently colored in Japan, not massively. It was pretty similar.
Yeah.
I will say he has a really, really good Spinosaurus dinosaur mode. That's pretty poseable.
Beast mode is pretty ace.
Yeah, this is the mode you keep him in, because his robot mode's kind of lame, I would say. Kind of lame.
Yep.
But in terms of dinosaur mode, the dinosaur head could open super far because the dinosaur head split apart becomes his hands for some reason. So he's got a lot of mouth movement. He's got little dinosaur arms that are on pins. They can move up and down. And then the legs have like multiple joints in them, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And then the tail's a little bit awkward, as it's meant to be like a flail. So it's got kind of these stiff, like 1, 2, 3 extra joints in it. The robot mode, I'll give them credit for being unique with the design.
Yes. Yeah, I actually like his head in terms of what they're trying for. It's just the execution is a little bit...
It's a bit wonky. My real issue is that the way that I guess, like, if you're looking at the stream, the gray pieces, you can see that they're meant to, like, tab into these nubs, or the nubs are meant to tab into the gray pieces and lock them in.
Dope.
No. Mine for the Japanese one was never too bad, but I did see American ones where it's just, if you try to move those arms, you just moved them out of the nubs.
Yeah, I've got him in. I don't think I've ever left him in robot mode more than like half an hour. He's gone straight back into beast mode.
He just doesn't look nearly as impressive.
But that beast mode's a cracker.
Yeah, his force chip ignition planet cyber key is also bizarre,
weird,
and impractical. From his giant Spinosaurus mohawk, a blade kind of flops out. Now, is it possible that it could work in robot mode? Yes. He would have to just headbutt people with a sword.
Which is hilarious.
Yes. However, because of where the dinosaur head neck kind of goes, and where the blade goes, there's just no practical way for him to use the blade in dinosaur mode.
Yeah.
It's completely redundant. It's weird. I'm not a big fan of it. I do think that the way that he holds his mace is interesting, as he's got these little divots in the underside of the dinosaur jaw, and that's where the weapon kind of slots. So it's not a conventional peg into like hole that we're used to.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that. It's interesting. Again, it just doesn't work desperately well. I like the Dino Shout version as well, because he was like incredibly green. He's what I would call monsters in my pocket green.
Yes.
He's monsters in my pocket green versus the more
a decade too late green.
Yeah, that's why I like it. While the American one is more standard. That's what I'd say. which I don't like. I don't like standard. I like silly.
Yeah, fun repaint as Repugnance as well, though.
Yeah, I have this
That's
one as well because someone got me the 3-pack. And yeah, doing him into like black, orange, bit of red, random bit of gold on his thigh for some reason. It's again, the dinosaur mode looks really cool. The robot mode looks a little better, but again, he's still got the problem of just the arms do not peg into position at all. The cool thing, the really nice thing is for the dinosaur head, the outside of it's painted black, but the inside with the tongue and the teeth are painted in the gold color. So it's got this nice. It's not just all black with just the eye colored. The mouth being done in a different color, I really think makes it pop as well. Would you agree?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer Repugnus or Dino Shout or the other one, whatever his name is? Which is your favorite color scheme? I think I still like Dino Shout because he is Monsters in My Pocket green, but Repugnus is very close. I don't like Undermine at all.
Yeah, Undermine is a little too. It sounds weird to say dull because he's a giant green Spinosaurus.
Yeah.
But, or a little green Spinosaurus, but he's not as green as Dino Shout, and Repugnus is just kind of. I think Repugnus takes me because I really like the glossy black they've used, and it's quite a nice gold. That gold is quite a rich gold they've used. So
yeah, this is the boss variant of the monster that you've been fighting throughout the video game.
Yeah.
This is like phase 2.
That tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one. However, in terms of where I'd rank him on the list of deluxes, I'd put him above Overhaul.
Yeah.
Would you? I wouldn't put him above Gasket, though. I think Gasket's better.
No. I think Gasket's a more complete figure.
Is he better than Scattershot? Because that dinosaur mode's really good.
It is a really good dinosaur mode. But you're on one mode to carry the whole thing. And you can't really use one of the features because it's kind of naff.
Yeah.
So I'd say under Scattershot. And under Ransack.
Logically that does make sense, but I do like the dinosaur mode a lot. I think if I'm being trying to be somewhat objective, I think that's the right call. If I'm just being a silly bastard, I'd be like, no, I like the dinosaur mode. Go away, boring nerd with your lame guns. Fuck off. That's how I would feel about it. So logically, yes, under Scattershot. In my heart, no. So now we're moving on to deluxes. Remember, there are other scouts that we haven't covered yet, but we'll be covering them in part 2 just because of...
We'll get there.
Yeah, basically, if you wondered what I did was I went on TFU, I looked through the list and started at the bottom because they listed them alphabetically. So we started at the bottom, went up to O, and then we've got O backwards, whatever that is. Like, do not pull me over, police officer, and ask me to do the alphabet backwards. I'm not going to do it. I'd just be like, fuck, I'm not drunk, but just take me to prison. I can't do it.
It's N, Andy. It's N.
Oh yeah, then it's M. Okay, cool. That'll work. But we're doing Sideways, or what was he called in Japan? His name was Noise Maze. That's right, Noise Maze. Really cool name in Japan. Maybe one of the coolest deluxes. Maybe one of the coolest deluxes in the wave. Such a unique, interesting figure. Pretty solid articulation. He's just unique. He doesn't look like.
He is.
I think. Even now, he looks really different from what you'd think of as a Transformer.
Yeah, and I'm always annoyed because my version, when I got him eventually, I got him from a boot sale, and he was missing a wing, and I forgot to pick up a spare. So that's always been a bit of.
That's a real bummer because if you don't have that wing, you can't make his really cool. Oh, you know what this is? This is what was inspired Transformers Prime Megatron's alt mode, right?
I think a bit, yeah.
Because it looks very, very similar in terms of its silhouette, at the very least. I think this is a better vehicle mode than Transformers Prime Megatron, though.
It's a really nice figure, and full stop. To be honest,
yeah,
it's one that I would. If they brought him back for a redo in
they have to do it for Legacy.
I mean,
Age of the Primes.
Age of the Primes is a perfect spot to fit this dude in.
Yeah, because he's weird. You can say like he's an agent of the Primes. So you can give him some shitty lore. That they have.
but he's got a bonkers looking head sculpt.
I love the head sculpt. His head sculpt is very G2, like Turbo Masters, Sky Scorchers, that kind of vibe. Like he doesn't have a face; he just has a translucent piece of plastic, which looks great.
And we didn't point this out, when they do translucents in Cybertron, they're generally pretty good.
Yes, modern day Hasbro, you used to be able to do translucent plastic. What happened?
There's some real nice light piping going on in these figures.
Yeah, super good. They hadn't forgotten.
And the robot mode is tight. The vehicle mode is
really
just
good.
Dreamy.
Yeah.
And his cyber weapon is just nuts.
Like, the only thing he's really missing that I would have liked to have seen him see at the time, I would have liked him to have had a waist joint, but just because of how the waist comes together, it's two halves that kind of peg together, so you can't really do it without spending a lot of extra money. Yeah,
that's always been a tough one for them to do, unfortunately.
Yeah. He's got really big heel spurs as well, so he's pretty solid on the ground. He doesn't have really any back kibble at all. He's just got a minor, I guess, cloak piece that hangs down behind him, and that's it.
Yeah.
His wing pieces are big D are missing. Form two giant blades, or a glaive, if you want, for his hand. Yeah. And I'm not really sure what his Cyber Planet key did, apart from change an Autobot insignia to a Decepticon one. And then...
Well, it sprung the blades out of his shieldy thing.
Were they blades, or were they meant to be like a crossbow? Like an energy crossbow? I don't remember.
I think it was either or, to be honest.
Or both, maybe.
Well, how did you feel on a particular day?
For me, I always saw it as a crossbow because it was like they were the energy bow bits. Not that makes any sense, but I thought that kind of works. You know, he's got his close range weapon, which is a sword. He's got his long range weapon, which is a weird crossbow kind of thing. That's how I like to look at him. But yeah, this guy is really good. He transforms really well. And yeah, you can see that in his vehicle mode, his feet are just kind of plonked by the side of the jet mode. But I think it's blended in well enough.
Yeah, it's a case where the deco does a lot of work to blend everything together in a way that it doesn't just look like he's hanging off the jet mode. It looks far more integrated.
Do you think that's due to like his toes being the bronzy color, and that bronzy color being used on what do you call the bits? Like the bit that has the orange on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does help.
It's not just the orange on the toe, and then they go, well, that's it. There's quite a few other points of this like bronzy color to help, like you say, blend.
I mean, it's everything. There's for black and for bronze, because so often you get a jet former where the robot is actually there are so many different colors to the robot that it just doesn't gel with the jet mode.
Yeah, like Silverbolt's a good example, oddly enough, because he's just a white
jet. The Aerobots as a whole are like the poster boy for why that can not work very well. But this, and also the transformation, because of how it folds up, so it actually looks more like the feet are part of the fuselage. They're they're intentionally part of the body of that jet mode.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like he's just hanging off the bottom. It looks like that's the body. That's how it flares out and comes back in to form the back section of the jet.
He's got great swooping potential, like in your hand. You can whoosh with him really well.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of redos over the years as well. Obviously, he was Noise Maze. Then there was Mass Production Noise Maze, which they don't have an image of, but I remember what it is. Do you know what it is?
No, go on.
It is the you probably don't remember from the show because it wasn't very good. It's the gray version of him. They were meant to be just like loads of noise mazes, so it's like he's gray. His translucent faceplate instead of orange was like blue, and I still think he had like the silver highlights on bits of him as well. So it was okay. It's fine.
So another drone type basically, which is great. Who doesn't love a drone?
Then we had the Rat Bat version, which is. It's okay. I don't think it's a great Rat Bat, but I get why they chose it. It makes sense.
With Springer, didn't it?
That's
Based on Cybertron Defense Hot Shot.
That's right. It was a 2-pack with the two of them in. And I think if you look at the vehicle mode, you can see how much the paint job makes it doesn't work as well as Noise Maze.
Yeah.
Like the feet look like they are feet on the side of the jet mode a little bit more
I
so
think it's
than with
because
Noise Maze.
of how it's been applied. That doesn't help how it is just on the top. If that was more dispersed,
yeah,
that might look better because there is a lot of that metallic pink on the toy anyway. It's just how it's how it's split across the figure, and those toes just don't look as blended in as the original version does, which is a shame.
Yeah,
to be fair,
I would agree. And then there's the BotCon's 2009 Scourge and the Sweeps. I remember Dave getting these because at the time there was no other way to get the sweeps. The head molds on them were okay. They were all right. I don't think they're very good Scourges, or Scourge and the Sweeps, but I see the logic from like a business side. I think what BotCon did and shows for the molds to use, I think was a logical one.
I mean,
the head mold's fine.
They picked probably the best bot that existed at the time.
For that kind of that idea of doing a Scourge, I agree. Yeah. I don't think another one would have worked super well. And the head mold, like I say, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, it's got bits of Scourge, but it's not fully there. But they were limited to what they could do. So
yeah, they couldn't give him his I don't know what he called the thing on the top of Scourge's head most of the time, but they had to kind of squeeze that in. It looks a little bit awkward. But they got in the mustache and the beard, so that, I guess those were the main points. So yes, Sideways, Noise Maze, pretty high on the list. He's pretty high on the deluxe list, I'd say.
He's a good place to start for deluxes because he's kind of like the benchmark.
Actually, no, I disagree because a lot of them are not going to hit that bar. A lot of them are not going to meet that bar. He's a zenith.
Yes, we're starting hot.
We've got Override or that's right, Nitro Convoy. The dude or lady, depending on which continuity you look at. As a kind of an interestingly designed car. It's got a slight automorph gimmick to it, which was when you unpegged the legs from the side of the cockpit, I suppose, and then you pressed in the black bit, it would kind of automorph most of the transformation at that point, and then you just kind of swing the hips in, and that was pretty much it done. Made it a little bit less satisfying as a transformer because it did most of the work for you.
Yeah.
I never really loved Nitro Convoy, and I think maybe that might have been the reason for it.
That's fair. I mean, I picked up the Override version years later, and just because I liked the idea of one of the big characters being a woman, which was rare for the franchise, to be honest.
It did make the cartoon awkward in places because the human girl had a crush on the space robot car and would blush around him a lot. And I don't think they ever addressed that in the script writing, so she just randomly blushed next to her. It's like, okay, your words don't have any context. So it's just weird you're blushing.
I mean, we're assuming that they bothered to pay attention to continuity in the scripts for Cyberton.
That's my mistake. My bad.
But it's an interesting figure. I can never remember automorphing. I think I was brute forced it. So
no.
Well, I got mine secondhand with no instructions. So I was just like, let's make it work.
Yeah, there was a lot of just like I say, you press that red button, black button in the front, and then everything would work effectively.
Yeah, I will say my version did end up a little bit on the floppy side not long after I picked it up. So
okay, that might have been a reason. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's a very heavy figure.
It's a shame because I think the car design is really interesting. Again, you look at the vehicle mode and you go, yeah, this looks like a weird car that you'd probably see in season 3 of G1 or something. It's in that ballpark of just, isn't there this weird design? Is it meant to be Speed Racer?
That's always been my fault, but it's supposed to be a homage to the Mach 5.
Yeah.
Because it's got a lot of the hallmarks of that design with the big flared wheel arches at the front and
The color
weird
scheme
position.
as well, right? It was similar, right?
Yeah, it's not a million miles away.
Yeah, I thought so.
So
I'm not a big speed racer guy, so it's me just
no,
kind of
but
remembering.
I would not be surprised to find out it is a homage in some way. So
I'd like to believe that's probably true.
yeah.
The force chip it's the same as gaskets, really. There's a big blob on the back of Nitro Convoy, and you just push the key in, and the little guns flip forward. It's I think Gasket's gun looks a little cooler than Nitro
this
Convoy's.
one always ends up looking. It looks too wide.
Yes, 100%.
If the barrels ended up closer together along the center line, it would look a lot better. But it's restricted not just because of. Well, they're restricted because her head is slap bang in the middle of the car, so you can't get any closer.
That's the one problem with the car design. I would say that the head's very, very visible. They might not mind. Some might. It's a feature at the very least.
Yeah, I get what they're going for. But,
I don't think. Again, there were probably minor differences between the Nitro Convoy and Override, but the other version is the Dark Nitro Convoy, which is of that time where Japan went, what if we just made random figures just black, teal, and purple? And it looks really good. It looks nice.
Yeah.
But it was a thing that they did for a lot of their exclusives at the time.
Yeah. And then you got the GTS version, which is Override, just replacing colors for white with lots of grey and a bit more black in place of some of the red.
Oddly enough, the cockpit's different as well. I think that's actually remolded.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah.
It's got. I think it's remolded and painted.
So it is.
I don't know why. Why would you remold the cockpit so it's practically the same, but a little bit different? It's bizarre. Again, this color scheme is okay, but I don't know why you do it like you have a car that's primarily white and red, and this one's primarily gray and red and a little bit of black. And if you ask me, white and gray are pretty similar on the color, on the shade wheel.
Yeah,
so it's odd.
I mean, it's not even like it's a particularly exciting grey because it's a bit of a drab grey, to be fair.
You know what that grey is? You should be used to this grey, Big D, because it's unpainted minis.
Yeah, it's GW plastic grey.
That's me taking a swing at you. A boom. One thing I do like about this is
just because I have stuff on my desk right in front of me right this moment.
Is that the only place they're unpainted?
Well, no.
One thing I do like about this color scheme is the red design on the car mode. I think you mentioned this as well. They changed it to flame design rather than just random red lines.
Yeah.
So that's nice. Again, it's not super noticeable because it's just red and red again. But it feels like there's a minor effort. My personal favorite.
They did try.
My personal favorite is I do like even though it is a bit like on the nose, I'm like, yeah, obviously you're gonna fucking do it. It's Dark Nitro Convoy. It looks really cool. It does look really cool.
Yeah.
You pissed off goth girlfriend.
I mean,
there you go.
I mean, does this color scheme ever really look bad if it's been applied well?
No. I mean, it's like black and yellow. It just works. There's just colors that work well. And like you say, if they've done the due diligence and thought, okay, let's think about where we place the colors. If they've done that, they've probably got a winner.
Yeah, and it's not even a one-to-one color swap either. They actually put a different deco on the legs and things. So
yeah. So yeah.
You can't even hate them for just doing a straight color swap. They've put thought into it, damn them.
Yeah. Obviously, this doesn't beat Noise Maze. No, not even close to beat Noise Maze. No. Not one of my favorites personally. But again, it's interesting. It's not a bad figure by any stretch of the imagination.
That's the thing with Cybertron. There's a lot of interesting, which I think is what salvages even the missteps. But I'll take interesting over just plain boring.
I would just, it's like Armada, there are interesting ideas there, but because there's barely any articulation, and the gimmicks suck out a lot of the articulation from those toys, it becomes more of a detriment, while these have really interesting designs that are really not hampered by the gimmicks mostly.
Yeah,
because we might find some that are.
Yeah, the Cyberkey gimmicks were generally, not entirely, but generally because they seem to have kind of dialed in that balance.
Yeah,
right
they weren't
in most
nearly as
cases.
nutty or over the top or intrusive as the Armada ones, which I think is the better idea.
Yeah.
So next up, we have another Red Alert that looks like Red Alert. This is was Red Alert in Energon?
He didn't turn up. Well, I think he showed up in the cartoon, but he didn't get a toy. That
makes sense. Yeah, he would have just been the Armada design. So this guy is, I think, a lot better than the Armada version in terms of the design, and you get a lot for a deluxe figure.
Absolutely,
which is going to push him up. And his Cyberplanet key is it's interesting. It's fine. So in terms of its design, there are aspects to it I like. There are things I don't like. Mainly, the thing I don't like is that the door wings just stick out slightly awkwardly on the side of his shoulders.
Yeah,
it's not super intrusive or anything like that. It's just a little bit odd. A little bit odd. He has no waist swivel either. Whatever, fine. They've decided
that's not uncommon in this line, so
no. They've decided not to give him one hand, so he is shock waving it, as we say. But I don't know why they don't show how it happens, but he does have alternate hands. He can switch one to a hammer and switch to a claw, and it's just like an extra piece that you stick on the end of the gun, and you just don't question it.
Yeah.
These extra pieces, though, if you didn't know, have the really cool feature of they're stored in his shins. So you flip down the car bonnet / translucent window of the car, and that's just where the extra pieces go. So it's a nice bit of storage.
It is. It was one of the nice things when they did Legacy Cannonball for Star Raiders, that's part of his design. He can do that. He can fit the bits into his legs, which is nice.
I mean, clearly we know that mold's just going to get reused to be this version as well. But I would agree to this. I would have liked him to have his own unique mold as well, to be fair. But what can you do? I will say, I usually complain about translucent plastic. I do think they are a little overzealous here with their use of translucent plastic. There's a lot of it. I don't think any of it's in super detrimental areas apart from the hinges on his shoulders. That looks a bit dicey.
They're a little hairy. But on the upside, at least it's not a case where you've got some windows that are translucent and others that are painted.
Yes, they're all consistently translucent. That's true.
and where you can actually see the insides on his shoulders, that's actually a really nice effect. How that, with the white paint underneath it, how it kind of almost shimmers in the light.
Yeah, at least it's not like clear translucent plastic where it's just white. The colored like red at least gives it something to add to the color scheme, I suppose. Vehicle mode, he is a really, really rich person ambulance vehicle, I guess. He has a similar issue to Nitro Convoy where his head is just on the top of his vehicle mode, which again looks a little awkward, to be fair. And the Cyberplanet Keyforce chip gimmick is you put the thing into his back, the side windows, side doors of the car mode, back doors, I should say, pop forward, and then two little guns kind of pop up on the sides. And for robot mode, they pop up over his shoulders, a little awkwardly, but you can barely see them, to be honest. But I think they work better in vehicle mode. I don't think it's a great gimmick, but it's okay. And again, it doesn't give him too much of a backpack. It's not that obtrusive either, but it's okay. It's not bad.
Yeah, and it's one of the ones that plays a bit more with the whole robots in disguise thing a bit more, because so much of the franchise has shown characters in their vehicle mode deploying concealed weapons, and this feels more like they're actually concealed to start with.
Yeah, and practical, unlike Dino Shouts, where he does have a sword. You just can't use it.
Yeah.
In terms of colors, reuses of colors, we have Cannonball, which is, I mean, it's just the best version of the figure.
Yeah.
Not even by a little bit. It's like Noise Maze is a country mile better. Cannonball is a country mile better. It's just aggressive how good this is. Asymmetrical color scheme on the head. Really cool skeleton tamp on the sides of the car and on the top of the car. Black and bronze with a purple translucent plastic. Bruh.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I think they missed out on, which obviously at the time... Oh, well, I guess he was called Cannonball. I think they should have remolded one of the claw weapon to be a hook. I think that would have been nice.
Yeah.
It's not condemnation because it is just a repaint, so why would they do that? But it would have been nice if they had, you know?
Yeah.
Other schemes are movie Crankcase, which is if he was blue?
I never knew about this repaint, to be fair, until I looked at this.
There are so many bizarre movie repaints, I'm not surprised. Apparently, he's a hazmat operations thing, which who knows what the fuck what does that even mean?
Hazardous materials.
Yeah, but in terms of the movie, what does that mean? So is this for like when Bumblebee pisses on Agent Coulson?
That would not surprise me if that was their reasoning.
And then we also have the 2009 Do for Cup, who's almost okay, but his face sculpt's so soft. It's like he had a bad 3D printer head, effectively.
I mean, it was supposed to be a younger version of Cup, so I kind of let it get away with that. But
I don't like it. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah,
of it, to be honest.
It's not the best take on the character.
It's also like, what if Cup was like a fat baby kid back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, the actual comic book, he's not drawn quite like that. But,
it's just that's how he appears in the photos, at least.
Yes, it's unfortunate that the toy is a bit on the... He's a little bit on the dumpy side, bless him.
He is, bless him. Would you say this Red Alert is better than Nitro Convoy? Because I would say yes. I like it more than Nitro Convoy.
Yes, I would probably say. I think he's a bit more stable overall, because I know that my Nitro Convoy have had issues with stability over the years. I think Red Alert generally holds together better. And like you said, he's got one banging repaint.
Yeah. Oh, shit, there's one thing we didn't talk about, and that's how you transform the legs, which is actually really cool. Because the legs are the front of the car and the back of the car.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't think I've seen very often in Transformers. So the top part of the back of the car forms the backpack and the gimmick, but the bottom half being the wheel and a little bit of the back swing forward underneath the car, as well as the front of the car swing forward underneath.
Yeah.
And kind of mush together. And if you look at his thighs, you can see like a line running down in between them. That's where the two kind of split apart. It's really neat. And somehow it doesn't fuck the toy. It's still articulated and still can bend its knees. There's no thigh swivel, of course, but it's shockingly good.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen a couple of figures across the years use a similar idea. But it's not a common transformation pattern. Partly, I'm assuming, because it's a bit of a ball ache for the engineering, and it helps for parts of it. But it does give him something a bit unique to hang his flag on.
Yeah, because not many Transformers do that. So it's like, how cool. That's fun.
And honestly, he's only a waist swivel and a couple of extra joints in, say, the legs, and maybe in one bicep swivel from being pretty damn spot on, to be honest, for modern articulations. So.
Yeah, if you were going to do a new version, you just, like you say, add those bits. You'd get rid of the translucent plastic, probably, and then you'd maybe just sort out his proportions a little bit more, as we talked about.
Yeah,
and he's
ready to go. As is, the updated Cannonball is probably the best use of the swerve.
Yeah,
layout.
That mold's been going on a long time now.
It has, but honestly, have you got this Cannonball?
No. I didn't like that. I got the mold as Crankcase, and I was like, man, I don't like this mold at all.
I mean, honestly, Cannonball, despite being the most recent variant of that design, blows all the others out of the water. He stands a bit taller, or he feels like he's taller, and there's something a bit more solid about him. It's really weird that this is like the fifth or sixth variant they've done.
Yeah, it's probably about that. It's probably about the fifth
legacy off.
Yeah.
and somehow it's actually the best version. But normally there's a point where he's all floppy and loosey-goosey and, oh God, give me a new sculpt now. But no, it's shockingly good.
Mm-hmm. Well, sorry.
I was just going to say, it's actually a point where I'm torn whether to actually pre-order Red Alert when he goes up, or hold off for the Cybertron Walmart set version instead.
You should probably get the new mold, I would say, versus the mold you already have, technically.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
Next up, we have Thunderblast, the girl, the sexy boob lady girl with nipples. She has nipples in the show. Do you remember?
I don't think I ever saw her in the show, to be fair. I only watch Cybertron very infrequently.
She has nipples. They are. You can find them if you look. This, unfortunately, is not a very good figure. This is probably the worst one we've looked at so far tonight, because this is the quintessential shell former, because there's nothing else to her.
No.
Funnily enough,
it's not a bad boat mode, but the robot.
Funnily enough, mine is missing the pin in the back, or mine was. I don't know if I still have her. So the way that the boat connects to her spine is there's a hinge joint. I don't know what the full name for it is. And then there's a pin that runs through that hinge joint to connect it to her. So the good thing about it is if I just wanted to pull off the boat and put it to the side, I could. That was neat. You weren't meant to, though. You weren't meant to. She is just a pose. She doesn't do much transforming to transform herself. You kind of splay her legs apart and just close the feet together because they're the front of the boat, and then you just kind of tuck everything in, and the boat kind of forms around her. That's it. That's a transformation. It's really half-assed. Like you said, though, the boat's really cool. This is a really good boat.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of boat it is, apart from a rich person boat, I guess, with a missile launcher on the back.
Yeah.
So a very rich person boat. But yeah, it's a neat boat, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I like the gun.
It's another
the gun's
character.
really good.
It's another character I'd really love to see them take another stab at.
I don't know I don't know how you do it though, because her robot mode design is so barren. And if you do a redesign, do you you'd need to change the back part of her, because that's the boat.
Could they do something using the Scourge design? Do you think?
What Voyager? What's the name?
Yeah,
Thunderblast.
Series Scourge. Yeah,
I don't think they do a retool, because it would have to be heavily retooled to make her look like a woman.
Because it needs to be.
And I'm not sure they'd rush to do a female at a Voyager scale.
That's true.
No, some people might say, but Andy, they have done that in the past. Yeah, but it's not frequent. And let's be honest, when they did that from Combiner War Starscream into Chromia, they didn't do a huge amount to change it. They did a decent amount, but not a huge amount.
Into Elita 1. Yeah.
You'd need to do a lot to do this.
I mean, I actually like Elita 1 in that form, because it's quite a nice beefy robot mode for her, which fits the version of the character they were going for. But
my problem was the mold wasn't great. Molds are very basic, especially compared to some of the other Voyagers. I thought it was kind of naff.
Yeah, it was power for primes. It was still the dark times.
Yeah. Interesting thing about this, she doesn't hold her weapon in her hand. Oddly enough, she holds her gun in her forearms. And also has hand slots, which is kind of weird. So the peg ports are in her forearms, which looks really odd, because it looks like someone came around to her with an ice cream scoop and just scooped out a load of her forearm, which could be a horror movie thing.
Yeah, but it is a nice way of making sure the gun's got a bit of stability to it, so it's not just sat in a single peg in her hand. I
mean, they could, to be honest, they could have just given her normal, peg hands. I think the reason they didn't do it is maybe one is they're trying to keep that hand design, because they love doing it even now today with modern female Transformers, giving them the dainty hand without the peg hole. I'm wondering if another reason is because the gun is pretty big, and I'm wondering if the reason it pegs into the forearm is to take a little bit of pressure off of the end point, Because if you put the whole weight on the end of the arm, obviously that's a lot more pressure on the joint. If you put it nearer the joint, it's less pressure. So it might be able to hold it. It's a very thin
wrist as well that they've sculpted on there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. I do like the gun. The Cyber Planet key is weird. You plug the Cyber Planet key into the back of a missile launcher to make a gun come out. Which
fires another missile.
Which fires another missile. Feels redundant. Very, very bizarre redundancy. Now, I don't know what you have it do, but instead of that.
But I do like, though, that you can detach it from the back and hold it and put it on the robot mode.
Yes, it's a proper gun.
Honestly, if you were just looking at the boat, you would assume that gun was fixed in place.
Yep.
But it's not. It's actually it's got a nice mounting point, but it attaches to that separately. That's cool. I like that.
It's okay. Yeah, it's not bad. In terms of redos, it had 2. It had the Chromia White version, which came with a DVD. It was one of the DVD specials. I don't know why. I don't know why it's called Chromia. This is by today's standard the Minerva repaint, effectively. It's a white boat, has red bits on it. It's okay. The translucent orange has been turned into translucent blue. It looks okay. It's fine. It's one of the rarer ones.
It is Minerva, because not only that, she's got the orange face as well.
Yeah, but they're listed as Chromia. And I'm pretty sure that's how they sold it as well, to be honest. I wonder if Japan had licensing issues with the name. Maybe. Who knows? And then the other version is 2009 version into Elita 1, where it is a pank version of the figure. An aggressively pank version of the figure. More RC pank. Oh, no, well, Elita 1's pank as well, I suppose.
Yeah, RC's always got a little bit more white mixed in general.
Yeah. To be fair, there are 2 tones of pink on this. Actually, 3?
Maybe 3?
Kind of 3, because it looks like the boat's salmon-colored, maybe. And then you have like a pink for the torso pieces. Oh, sorry, the legs and whatnot. And then you have like pretty girl pink is what we call it, I guess, for like the thighs and the hands and whatnot.
Yeah,
I don't like this one, to be honest. Not a fan.
Yes,
Thunder Blast is probably the best paint scheme, I think, out of the three of them. But this is probably the worst of the deluxes where we've talked about tonight.
I'd say that's fair. Yeah,
just because it doesn't do anything.
No.
That's the problem. It does so little. Which is a shame because it's priced the exact same price as the rest of them, obviously. Next up, we have kind of a weird one that was only in America World.
Very weird.
I think this was this was from another line, but this mold we haven't talked about this mold. This is the Optimus Prime Jungle Planet, which was based off of. As I scroll down,
this was the 10th anniversary Beast Wars line, I believe.
Yeah, 10th anniversary Beast Wars line. It was like one of the 2 unique molds, where the rest of them were just Dinobot in normal colors, Tarantulas in normal colors, etc., etc. So
yeah, because They released a whole bunch of the original figures in more show accurate color schemes.
That's right.
And then they had Primal and Megatron
as weird deluxes.
Deluxes, but with full cyber key functionality.
Well, not the original versions. The original versions didn't have that.
Did they not?
Oh no, they did.
Oh, I didn't.
No, they did. Oh, they did. I didn't think. I never had these ones, so I didn't think they did. But it seems like it says for the 10th anniversary one, he came with one. I didn't think they did though.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the mold, I suppose, because I never had this, so you're gonna have to run me through it.
I have the beast mode, the base figure, but I don't have his surfboard, sadly.
Oh, what does the surfboard do? Because that was his Cyber Planet key gimmick.
Well, it fired the missile.
Yeah.
And I think it transformed into, or it had a thing where you could turn it into the Axelon.
It says for features, robot to vehicle conversion, spring-loaded missile launcher, cyber key activated blade reveal. That's all it says.
Yeah, I never had I've never had the surfboard, so I couldn't remember on that score. But it's a nice repaint.
It's interesting. It's this weird blend of Primal 1 and then Transmetal Primal with the surfboard.
Yeah, but it makes him the way they've colored him for this as well, this particular race, makes him stand out as a separate entity. There's a little bit of what they'd end up using for the universe version of the character, for the larger repaint of the base, the Ultra Optimus Primal from the first wave of Beast Wars. But this is actually quite a nice hybrid of the original and the Transmetal 2 design, or the Transmetal design rather, to get this hybrid take on the character.
I'm not sure how I feel about the color scheme. Like brown and then Ushapti bone color is a bit of a weird one. I do like on this that it's got like a scar on his eye painted in there. That's kind of fun.
I think that's sculpted in, actually.
Is it on the original one? I don't think it is. No, it's not on the original one. At least it's not painted on. In terms of color schemes, there was the 10th anniversary. There was the Jungle Planet, which is the one we're looking at. There's the Unite version, which seems to be the same as the 10th anniversary, just released for Japan 6 years later. There's the BotCon 2014 Timelines Apeling, which is a pretty... This is the universe color, isn't it? Kind of. Sort of.
Yeah.
Because he's got the black face.
Yeah. It's...
And then there's the BotCon 2000 Timelines 2014 Primal Prime, which is the red one. From the movie. Yeah. He's got a few translucent pieces, so it's a bit boring. I think I like the Apeling the best, to be honest. They're all pretty similar, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go with the original scheme for the 10th anniversary and the United, because it's the same color scheme.
Yeah, practically, yeah.
I say United was just for general release 6 years later.
Yeah.
But it's a nice way of applying the original color scheme to a more transmetal design, which I like.
Yeah.
It was a very unexpected figure when first time I saw it, I'll be honest. Because just like, oh, Optimus Primal in the Cybertron line. Thank you very much.
How weird. Yeah, I wish I could talk more about it, but I've never had it. It's not one that I'd be opposed to getting either. It's just
it's got a decent amount of articulation as well. I mean, I don't think he's got much in the way of waist, but he's got quite a lot in the legs and the arms.
Yeah, he's got the
quite nicely, so
he's got the gorilla kind of elbow joints, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a shame, but it's appropriate. Yeah. He's a gorilla, so that makes sense.
And it's quite nice how the legs become the gorilla arms and his hands are the other bit. So it's a little different.
How was the Megatron? Was Megatron better than this Primal?
I've never had the Megatron.
Fair enough. Because I know they redid him as well. I think they did him into like a green color scheme or something.
Can't remember. I have to say, it is one I did always want to get for Megatron, but I just never got around to it.
It'd be something like if I saw it at a future Transformers convention, theoretically, if I could ever go to one again, it would be something I wouldn't mind picking up. Because it'd be maybe neat. Maybe okay.
Maybe it's one to look out for on when Toy Fu does his next listings for the next convention.
Again, I won't be able to get it because I can't go to the conventions. But
no, but don't they normally put a list up as well if there's anything people can't get to? And
I have no idea. I've never checked. And I think if I'm getting stuff from Toy Fu, I'd like to pick it up in hand.
That's fair.
You get me?
I was just thinking out loud. It might be a way you get one. Just ping me a message.
I think at that point I'd be just doing it from eBay if I was going to do that.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Snarl, a very uninspired name for an interesting robot.
Yes.
An interesting transformer. I don't think perfectly executed, but interesting. He's a wolf.
Yes.
He has this weird thing where his torso splits in half and folds around to... I don't know how to describe the transformation desperately well. Because you got to have it in hand.
It's kind of like how Beast Wars Megatron transforms, but for a wolf.
Kind of, except when you with Beast Wars Megatron, when you split the T-Rex's back and they fold open as wings. They don't fold open as wings on Snarl. They fold open and then round and then peg into the chest.
Yeah.
Is probably the best way to say it. And then each shoulder is on a slidey joint, which you move up or down to get them aligned into the position, because the One arm is the head of the wolf, like Megatron from Beast Wars, like you mentioned, and then the other hand is the underside of the fluff of like his throat fluff.
Yep.
So it's weird. And then his tail's a giant sword, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, he doesn't have a Cyberplanet key gimmick. Oh, no, he does. He just has... No, this is why I was confused. He has a Cyberplanet key holder on the side of his leg.
But it doesn't do anything.
No, but you can store the planet key on the side of his leg. But it doesn't do anything.
Oh, I suppose... But there's a slot on the back of his wolf head.
Yeah.
Does that... That's so weird that doesn't do anything.
The one on the side of his leg?
Looks like...
Yeah, I know.
No, I mean, if you look at the beast mode, there's a slot on the back of his wolf head for that key.
That does something. That opens the mouth. It opens the mouth, and you see the bits of fluff on the side of the head.
Oh.
Those move for some reason. And then he's got this weird one on the side of his leg.
I thought you were saying he doesn't have a gimmick.
No, he doesn't have one on the side of his leg, which is where the planet key can go for some reason. No reason, because for the longest time, I thought that's where the sword could go in robot mode. And maybe it can, but I never was able to get it in there. I don't think it can go in there. Pretty sure it can't. This is a weird one. The sword is the tail is a gun sword, so it can be a gun or a sword. It's quite good. I never found him desperately fun to fiddle with, but again, he's interesting just how weird his transformation is.
Yeah. And interesting's always good.
What did you think about him, Big D? Did you like him?
I've always liked him in theory. I've never had him in hand. He's one I've always fancied getting hold of, just never hand out. But I've always liked how he looked.
He's a weird one.
I've always liked that slight asymmetrical design when it shows up, because it's always just novel.
Yeah.
Or it says that they've tried something a bit different.
And in terms of different things, we have the Toy Dreams project. I don't know what the fuck that is. Yeah. It's Fangwolf. This is the black version. So he's primarily black and grey, and a bit of yellow here and there. It's not very inspired, kind of flat, kind of boring. It's kind of the lazy way of doing your kind of nemesis, evil, black recolors of a character. It's kind of boring. Then 2007 came around and decided to do him into weird wolf colors, and it kind of works. Not super well, but kind of works. I think the robot mode works a lot better than the wolf mode. There isn't enough color on the wolf mode. Yeah, I would agree. It does work better than it should. It's okay, but I don't. There isn't a preferred for me. There isn't a preferred version of Snarl or Fangwolf. It's just like,
Yeah.
Excuse me. So this is one that you might pick up one day, maybe, or at least fiddle with.
Yeah. Okay. If I saw it at a show for a decent price in good nick, I'd probably go, yeah, all right. I'll have one of those.
That's fair. I wouldn't. He's not the worst. He's better than. He's better than Thunderblast. I'd say he's better than Nitro Convoy.
I would probably say that's reasonable.
In terms of how it transforms, there's more transformation here than with Nitro Convoy. Yeah,
and I like that his robot head has got that feral aspect, that beast aspect to it as well. That's that muzzle. That's quite fun.
Very Tiger Hawk as well. If you notice, yeah, it's quite nice. It's not bad. Yeah. There is expression there, which is always good. Thundercracker is next, who's almost a good figure. Almost. His transformation scheme is Smoke Jumper again, or Ghost of Starscream from Energon. It's just there's a couple of extra steps here and there, but for the most part, it's just that one again. Yeah. He has a giant gun for an arm, which is really awkward. It's on multiple joints. It's not very good. I like the head design. I think the head design's really cool. I think the jet design's really good as well. I'll give you that.
Got a bit of the old, I think it's Russian flanker, possibly.
Oh, okay. I'll go with that. In terms of Cyberplanet Key Force chip, for the gun arm, you put the thing into the gun, and it springs upwards. Not the missile, the gun. The gun springs upwards. It's not really for the robot mode. It's primarily for the jet mode, because the gun kind of reveals itself as like a hidden gun. In robot mode, it just awkwardly looks like the gun misfires and splits apart.
Yeah. It's a shame because, like you say, he's so close to being good.
Yeah.
So close.
That arm throws off. The legs are really wide. He's got, like, if he got pregnant, the babies would just fall out. His hips are so wide, and his legs are so thin. They're not like gasket thin, but clearly they have the same, like, gym regime.
Yeah.
So it's a shame. Like I say, love the jet. Jet's really cool. Transformations are solid as ever. It's just kind of meh. It's not bad. It's just very meh.
It just needed one more pass in the design phase, I think.
I don't know what they could have done because, like, I think the legs are as skinny as they are because he has no undercarriage. He's really clean underneath in his vehicle mode, especially by today's standards, sad enough to say.
I mean, I think really you could probably have left everything. It's just if they'd found a way to better integrate that gun. If it wasn't replacing an entire arm.
I would have preferred if it was like something that came over his head and like he had a normal arm and it came over his head or something, not just be his entire arm. Awkwardly be his entire arm. It does make for like a good like walking stick for him, so you can balance him reasonably easily.
Yes, that's true.
That's a bonus, I suppose. And in terms of redos, he had Skywarp. It is not the colors you would assume Skywarp would have.
Gosh, that's bright.
Yeah, he's not a dark purple. I like a very kind of blue spectrum kind of purple, and then white, and then a little bit of gray. No black. It's bizarre.
But then, as a Thundercracker, he's not a particularly great Thundercracker either in terms of colours, let's be honest.
No, but, you know, he's not trying to be... He's been his own version of Thundercracker. He's been the Galaxy Force version. This, I feel like they called it Skywarp deliberately. Yeah. So I would have thought they would have, like, gone out of the way, because this was a Japanese design, so, you know, what can you do?
I'm genuinely surprised they didn't give a redeco in Starscream's classic colours. Not as Starscream, just to put that colour scheme out there.
Yeah, just to get another one. Yeah, they didn't. They held back. They did him into movie Dive Bomb, which is where they made him yellow with poo marks on him, or like poo camo. And this is, again, almost a good colour scheme. The problem is the yellow. Like, because if this was a nice sandy desert colour, it would work a lot better, because it would be the... desert camo, I don't know what you call it, like
chocolate chip camo.
Yeah, the kind of Gulf. It's a Gulf War kind of color scheme.
Kind of. This is more of a
desert storm,
digital, almost digital. Actually, no, this is more of a splinter camo, to be fair, because of how it's got the jagged lines on it.
Yeah, I think they should have gone for the desert storm kind of color scheme, like you say, not jaggedy but splodge. I think splodge works better as well.
I mean, problem is most desert color camos, you need to add a splash of either a green or a white in there as well. There needs to be a third color. It can't just be two-tone. It doesn't
see, I'm thinking of Micro Machines where it was two-tone. Because the Micro Machines had the two-tone color and they were pretty good, at least from what I remember.
Okay. See, I'm thinking of someone who spent a lot of time around desert camoed aircraft.
Oh yeah, around real ones. Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different. So I'm not sure there's a winner here. I guess normal Thundercracker is probably the best looking one out of the three of them.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very much a case of congratulations, you're all mediocre.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think because of like how disappointing he is for such a good transformation bones to go from, he's better than Thunderblast. I like him less than Nitro Convoy, though.
Yeah. And it's a shame because that's a really nice alt mode.
Yeah, the alt mode's great. Again, I love the fact it's got little missiles on. Granted, they don't fire or anything on like that, but
they're there.
Yeah, and usually you don't have that. Usually extra missiles are like extra accessories that you have to pay for, and thus usually aren't included in these deluxe figures.
Yeah. And they're painted as well.
Yeah, I mean... Just a tip, but it is something.
No, they're silver, painted silver with orange tips.
Are you sure they're not molded in that plastic? Because like his little side wings on his side legs are that color as well, and they're not
that's
painted.
possible. But they're in a different color to the wings.
Yes,
That in itself is very
It's
rare.
something. No, I agree. Next up, we have a really good, unique one that Japan didn't get, unfortunately, and it's Unicron. He wasn't in the show, but is a complete, as far as I'm aware, a completely unique mold. And it's really cool.
I don't. Yeah,
it's close to
this
Noise Maze. I think it's kind of close to Noise Maze, but it's not Noise Maze.
I have one of these. I want to have at least 3 or 4 more.
Yes, because they're meant to be like they are meant to be drones.
Yeah,
of Unicron, which is neat.
Because I have Armada Unicron in the loft. I want a bunch of these as his minions.
That won't be cheap, I'm sure. Because they didn't make.
Probably
I don't
not.
Think they did a lot of these. Yeah, you only got one repaint. Which is a shit, but we'll get to that.
I mean, he shows up. I mean, I've never had much difficulty coming across him, but his price has been steadily going up, I've found, over the years.
And that makes sense. What would you say he turns into?
I would say he turns into a hover tank.
Is that what it's meant to be? But he has treads and big back wheels.
Or just a tank.
It's weird. It's got Unicron pincers on the front. It's got these Unicron wing bone bits on the side of the tank.
Yeah, he's got his weird little
radar dish.
He's got his weird little mouthy thing in front of the turret above the cockpit, which is
how did you take what his head transforms into? Because his head doesn't do anything; it just flops backwards.
I take that as to be like, that's been always been my take. Radar, targeting array,
Because that would be the big negative about this toy. Unfortunately, like the head just doesn't do anything, and it just awkwardly flops backwards.
No, but at least at least you do have to turn it to face back. You turn it facing backwards so you can't see the face. So
what do you mean? At least,
I mean, we've seen figures where you can't even do that.
Like what?
Where the face is literally just poking up or clearly visible. This
like
way, at least turn the head around. I know I've seen a few over the years. I can't remember off the top of my head. They exist. You know they do.
I think that's pretty weak. It's just you can turn the head around. It's like if the only time that I don't think that's applicable is like G1, where they just sometimes didn't have a head joint. Most figures after G2 had like a head articulation, even if it was just a swivel.
I mean, he has a head swivel.
Yeah, I mean, thank God. Otherwise, his head would be completely visible in the vehicle mode. And it is mostly. It's just he wouldn't be looking straight up at you. Apart from that, I think the vehicle mode is a really interesting looking thing. And the robot mode, again, has a lot of elements of Noise Maze to it. With the panels on the side of his legs, is the weird feet. The shoulder design's kind of the same. Big old cannon on the side of his thing, which launches a missile. I like the skeletal head design of Unicron here. And his Cyberplanet key it's okay. It's kind of cute. He's got, as you said, he's got the mouth on his chest, which opens up and kind of reveals a minigun. It's cute. It doesn't do anything crazy, but it's like, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun.
And the repaint version is, what if the grey bits were like greyish blue, and that's it?
Ooh.
That's as far as they went. And I don't think it looks as...
When?
There's 6 and 2 3s.
Ooh.
I don't remember either. United, Arc, Unicron. I don't remember. It was
that'd have been the same time they re-released Optimus Primal from this wave as well. Probably just giving them Japanese releases in that case.
Since Japan didn't get it. I don't know why they called it like this though, because they were trying to get it close to the movie
animation.
Unicron.
Yeah.
I don't think it works desperately well.
The American release, that darker grey plastic they've used gives it much more of a skeletal vibe, which
I didn't even notice. Like the plastic for his vehicle mode, he looks way more toffee kind of colored, rather than the bright yellow.
Oh, he does.
I didn't notice that. I thought it was just a bright yellow. It's not. It's toffee colored. Huh.
Yeah, there's like a metallic flake to it. It's almost like a caramel bronze type color. That's really weird.
It's odd. Oh well, there you go. I rate this one pretty high.
Yeah.
It's not Noise Maze good.
No, there are flaws to it. I mean, the actual transformation can be a bit of a trying to get the legs to line up. I've always had difficulty with from time to time. And it's not easy to get some of the posing out of it, but it's a fun figure to have. And like I say, who doesn't want a bunch of mini Unicrons you could just pose up to have rampaging through your collection?
I agree. Yeah. I rank him above Red Alert. I think he's better than Red Alert. He's more of a solid figure than that.
I'll give him that. Yeah.
I can't remember who our number 2 was, but I think that probably places him at least near number 2, at least on the ones that we're covering at the moment.
Yeah.
Next up, we have. Sorry, what's that?
I'll be down with that.
Next up, we have the Voyager Starscream. So there's like the good version, which is the Galaxy Force version, which I had. I think I still have it, maybe. Then there is the Toys R Us brown version. Then there's the Timelines Shattered Glass version, which is shit. And then there's the Classics Dirge version, which is just him in blue. Let's click on the Galaxy Force one. So this mold is... there are a lot of good aspects to it, but there are a lot of limited things about it. He has no shoulder articulation outwards. He can rotate all the way around, but he cannot move his arms. He's got really stubby forearms. His guns in his vehicle mode do not move, unfortunately. They are pointed down all the time. Luckily, they sort that out for the Supreme version of him, but it's a shame that the Voyager version didn't have that. Apart from that, his legs are fairly posable, what you'd expect, all kind of ratchety.
Yeah.
His feature is you plug a Cyberplanet key into his back, and 2 blades shoot out from the 2 sides of the wings.
Yeah.
Obviously, for the American version, one was a gun, one was a blade. And he forms a really cool jet. And the transformation's pretty neat. And the advantage over the Legacy version is it holds together incredibly well. It doesn't flop apart. He's not floppy at all. He's very hard ratchet joints on him, which is quite nice.
And I think, was this the first time they put the Tetrajet into a toy?
Like officially, I think so.
Yeah.
Unless the Micro Machines shitty line had them, the Titaniums line had it before.
Oh, I have no idea on that.
Yeah, I can't remember when Titaniums was.
Oh wait, no, Titanium was after this because it was around the same time as Classics, I think.
Oh, so 2007, 2008. Okay, so yeah, this is more than likely the first Tetrajet-esque design that we had. And it's really good.
Yeah.
It's got problems. It's not perfect, but it's good. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I remember first time I saw a Toy News mag where they had a preview for the Cybertron line and showed off the leader class Starscream, and just seeing that design, that it was a Tetrajet, bit of the IDW kind of took some, not IDW, the Dreamwave War Within took some vibe from this later on.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a bit of a mind blower. I'm still irked that in the UK I could never find the original paint job. I had the 2-pack version instead.
There wasn't an original version. Japan had it, and America didn't get it for some reason. They didn't want it.
Yeah,
they got the big version. I guess America was like, no, fuck them. They'll get the big one, and they'll be happy. Because the brown version's weird. Because I don't know why it exists. There's no Thundercracker recolor of him. Oh, no, well, that one makes sense because Thundercracker's in the show. But you would have thought they'd still do the blue version and the stereotypical Skywall purple version, but they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, instead, this one's now kind of become Thrust. Then we got Dirge as later on, and they never did a Ramjet version.
Oddly enough, no.
Yeah. But,
and the Dirge one's fine. It's blue.
Yeah.
It's like that's it. And then the Timelines version is just Skyfire colors, which is like, yeah, all right, well, fair enough.
Yeah,
boring in it.
It's just.
I think the original version's probably the best, to be honest.
I think that's fair. It kind of hits all the right notes as a Starscream homage.
Yeah, And it's not weird brown.
No.
Which I say is a plus.
It's one of those cases where they've used a grey that actually works and shows off quite a lot of the detail they've put in.
Now we've got Vector Prime. Should we start off with your shitty Vector Prime? The white one with the shitty rubber rings?
Yeah.
So did he have electronics for the American one or not? The Japanese one obviously did, but I don't know if the American one did.
I think my one... I'm sure there were batteries in my one. Okay. I don't think I ever messed around with them or not, but I can't swear to it. I'd need to try and dig it out. But I do remember the wings were always annoying. And the sword. The funny thing is, I actually have 2 copies of the sword for this particular version.
Oh.
The one that came with my original figure, and I picked up another one. Can't remember how. I think I got it in a cheap eBay auction, and it came quite badly warped. So
I'm not surprised.
But I left it with some heavy parts on top of it, and it now is pretty much straight. So eventually, I'll be using that with my Cybertron Optimus Prime for the big combined mode, where you can do all the fun stuff.
Are you not gonna get the DNA kit, Vector Prime upgrade kit, and just use that sword?
Not for my Cybertron. I could do, I suppose. I am getting that upgrade kit. So
that upgrade kit has like a normal sword and then a translucent sword as well, if you remember.
Yeah, but the sword from Cybertron Vector Prime is actually designed to fit into one of the Wingblade sword hilts.
So you
can fit it in Cybertron Prime's hand, which I don't think. I mean, if they make that a part of the functionality of the DNA swords, I'll be very impressed. Very impressed. But wait and see on that one.
He also came with the Minicon, which wasn't too bad. It was actually one of the cool ones. It doesn't do a huge amount of transformation, but it was a gun. I think the mold for this is really good. Unfortunately, America got fucked royally. Well, the West got fucked royally, because this is an awful version of Vector Prime, especially when you compare it to the Japanese one, which is the one I had, which is the correct color scheme, has way more paint apps. The wings are not floppy. They are solid plastic, as is the sword as well. Again, solid hard plastic. And the Cyberplanet key is actually painted, but for some reason on the side they don't show it. They only show the wrong side of it for some weird reason. And again, the Minicon is the correct colors in gray. This is a really good toy. I still have it. I like it a lot. I love all of the molded detail on it, which is also painted.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very, very pretty figure, even though he just turns into the sailboat from DS9.
Well, no, he turns into the last Autobot from the end of the Marvel Transformers comic.
I never read that, so I wouldn't know. I'll have to take your word for it.
It's a brutal run, because it's Furman in full comics ending. Let's murder everyone.
Oh, I thought you meant in terms of feminisms, in terms of writing.
Oh, that as well.
Which sometimes got bad. In terms, if I want to be negative about the transformation, his arms are very visible. His legs just kind of fold around and don't do a lot. Like, his transformation's pretty easy. It's very much a deluxe to basic transformation. But he has a very cool look to him, which is kind of why I give it a pass, because it does look like an old vehicle. Oh, like an antique vehicle, which is kind of interesting.
It's a real nice touch how they've managed to do that to make him look real antiquated compared to everyone else.
It's nice.
And I like how the back panel as well, that it really helps for robot mode to form, or the nose of the alt mode forms that really nice, helps form the cloak silhouette.
Yeah, it does a good job. It is a big back kibbly bit, but it's from the front, it's not too bad. It's all right. In terms of other redos, apart from the shit one, the Big D unfortunately was stuck with, he had a Cybertron Galaxy Force Vector Prime, which is, it's not the Galaxy Force version. It's I kind of like this version, but it is weird. It's kind of a gold and black and silver version with orange translucent wings. It does still feel kind of half-assed in terms of paint budget compared to the Japanese one. And I think with a little bit of extra love, it could look a lot nicer. I like this one, to be honest. A bit more regal. You know? And then there is the Universe 2.0 Vector Prime, which if you told me this was part of the movie line, I would have said yes, because it's so fucking boring.
I mean, I actually have this version, and although the pictures in hand, I actually quite like it.
Mm-hmm.
In pictures, it doesn't really sell it.
It looks like he's got poo pants on. And poo hands and a poo hat.
See, I've never gotten that read of it, because in hand it feels quite nice, and I think it's just the photography they've used is not great for it, to be fair. Okay. It's like the sword they've got is really badly bent. My one has never had that issue either, which is weird.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the sword's actually painted. It's black, or it's molded in black and then probably painted silver, I would imagine. So it's the first Vector Prime out of them that has a like painted sword or light normal colored sword. So I guess that's a mark in its favor, I suppose. Yeah, I if you said this was an 07 repaint, I wouldn't be shocked. It looks like kind of a more standard color scheme. You know,
well, it's 09, so it's not a million miles away.
No, it probably, well, it's classics, but it wouldn't be too far off from Revenge of the Fallen's line either, I suppose, right?
Yeah, they were kind of a bit blurring the lines at that point, weren't they?
They were weird. Yeah, Vector Prime, not as good as Starscream, but visually better than Starscream.
Oh, he did have a really nice redeco as Alpha Trion, though, for BotCon.
Oh, yeah, that's true. In terms of color scheme, yes, he does have a little tiny baby head, though.
Yeah.
The head looks a little bit like it's been shrunk down a little bit too much, like at the end of Beetlejuice 1, which I hate that I have to say Beetlejuice 1. Otherwise, it's a pretty smart reuse of a mold. Alpha Trion being old, Vector Prime being old, it works.
But still using that soft plastic for the wings, which is...
it's probably based off the American version, so they'll probably...
Yeah, I think that's a safety... I think that's a safety thing, annoyingly, because he's a bit pointy in places.
Yeah. There might have been a worry about the wings just breaking as well. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's a bummer, though.
Yeah.
We got Quick Mix next, one that I didn't have, and one, oddly enough, that wasn't in Japan. This mold wasn't used in Japan, even though he's not a main character, but he shows up as a character with a couple of lines. Do you ever have this guy, Big D?
I own him. He's very funky.
What's good about him, then?
Well, it's always novel to see an Autobot cement mixer, for one. It's a nice callback to the G1 Target Masters with the name as well. I like... He's a very nice, chunky character. Despite the fact his drum is basically his forearm, that arm takes the weight really nicely, which you wouldn't expect. The ratchets in the hips are nice and solid. No waist swivel is a shame, but it's kind of down to the transformation in some ways, so can't do much about that.
Yeah.
The other arm, with how the hand, it only really bends inward.
Yeah, gorilla arm syndrome.
The hand is sculpted. Well, I think it does have a shoulder swivel, so you can actually turn it around, but the hand is in a fixed position.
Yeah,
so
it's the gorilla arm bend again.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of feature, extra bits. His minicon is kind of fun. He basically has... Well, I actually can't remember if it... Let me just check quickly, because I want to make sure I've got this right, because I have the repaint of his minicon from the Universe version.
Okay.
Where he's actually done up in Constructicon colors, the minicon.
The minicon. I was going to say, he's not. It's like the minicon is. Okay.
Which is kind of adorable. I've got him perched on top of Combiner Wars Devastator. Because it's like, these are my bros. But no, I just like, it's a nice, chunky, solid figure. Like I say, the arm, surprisingly, is not a problem for it to do much with, which you wouldn't expect that. You'd think it would actually be quite a nasty... It would mess with the arm, but it doesn't. It actually works quite well. Probably the worst thing is the fact that you have that mix barrel at the top, which doesn't really go anywhere.
Mm-mm.
It still kind of pokes out a little bit from the back of the barrel, but he is quite a nice chunky figure to mess around with. So yeah,
It's given me a lot of Homer gets his arm stuck in a vending machine kind of vibes.
there is a bit of that, yeah.
I like the head sculpt. I think that's nice. The gorilla monkey arm is a bit weird. He's got very, very flat feet. Incredibly flat feet, like humorously flat feet, like someone's driven a car over them kind of deal. But I think that he looks okay. I think the repaint might look a little bit better, to be honest, because it looks like there's a little bit more color variation.
Yeah, the repaint is more interesting, to be fair.
I like the vehicle mode. It's got the orange cab and then the green kind of in the back, which is quite nice, instead of him just being just mostly orange.
Yeah, my only knock against repaint is for the actual drum.
There's no paint on it for some reason.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
But it's, more boring drum, much better deco for the robot. Meh.
How would you rate him then compared to the other two Voyagers?
Oh.
Better than the Starscream?
How do we know? So we had Starscream at number one?
Starscream and then Vector Prime. That's it for the Voyagers so far.
I would probably say he comes last out of the three of them.
Okay. It's not bad. It doesn't mean he's bad. It's just he's
that is purely because the quality of the other three has been quite high. The other two has been quite good.
Okay, that's fine. Next up, we have Soundwave, another Voyager, who's a bit of a weird one. He has skinny leg syndrome. He also has... There's some interesting aspects about Soundwave, and then some really weird, annoying things. I don't like the fact he's got the cockpit on the back of his arm, and then a nose cone on the back of his arm as well. That's kind of awkward. He has skinny legs where you have to push them inwards or outwards. I can't remember which way it is for the transformation, which is a bit odd. If you notice on the inside of his legs, those pegs peg into the shield on the back of his arm, and they can snap off.
Yes, they are a bit of a pain, his legs. Yep. I remember that very well.
His neck, his head sits on his these gray parts on his neck, which just kind of, again, like Jackshot, look a little bit awkward. It looks like it raises his head above his chest a little bit too much, just because of part of the color scheme, the transformation scheme. But he does have a cool, not cassette feature, but hexagon feature. Is that what you call Bombs feature? It's something. It's something. Yeah. It opens up and he has a gun and another gun. He has two guns, and then he also has, for some reason, they don't have it here. I click on the link. He comes with a little laser beak as well, which is a little cube thing, and it opens up, and he's very cute.
But who also turns into a bomb?
Yeah. Well, again, are they bombs? They're just these weird hexagonal. Things.
It says robot to bomb conversion. That's how I've always taken it as well.
Oh yeah, robot to bomb. Wow, what a sad life. What is my purpose? To kill yourself? Jesus.
I mean, in alt mode, they do deploy from the bomb bay on the bottom of the jet. So
that's true. It's true. I do like the idea of the redesign, the head redesign. I like. He's just kind of messy, and I remember him not being very fun to transform.
No.
And he's not a handsome vehicle either. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, it was genuinely nice to get a new take on Soundwave.
Yeah, that was good. That was cool.
After what, decade and a half?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And
you know what? For a first attempt, again, it's interesting. It's flawed as hell, but it's an interesting approach.
Yeah, I think it's got too many problems to be classed as good, though. A wonky vehicle mode, a slightly wonky robot mode. The best thing about him is his bomb feature. I love the guns. Yeah. The gun things are really fun. They're simple to transform out, but they look really neat. And the laser beak is really fun.
Yes.
He's really cute as well. He's better than G1 Laserbeak by a mile, and he doesn't require extra parts on him either.
That's also a good point.
In terms of redos, he got done into Sound Blaster because, black version. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yep. And then he was recolored, but he didn't get a remolded head. He was redone into Blaster. Actually, in these pictures, you can see his knock-knee defect. It looks like he needs to pee himself because they haven't transformed him right.
Yeah, for Blaster might be very few Transformers generally annoy me. This version of Blaster does, just because it's so damn lazy.
It's just Soundwave, but what if red? You know what? In today's age, this would be Shattered Glass Soundwave if we didn't already have one. Yeah.
I mean, Sound Blaster, I like. One, because we already know Sound Blaster as a character exists.
New Soundwave.
And a black repaint of Soundwave is never a bad look. Always looks great. But for Blaster, this just... And especially because the line it was in, that was what really irked us, because it was in the Universe Classics line.
Yeah, it was kind of a cheap repaint just to kind of get out there, it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the sound was probably the best. Sound Blaster's good. I'd say, because I had it, it's not black, it's very dark, smoky grey.
Okay.
It's like the color that you should use to dry brush on a black figure, like a Dark Templar.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I don't know what the equivalent of GW paint is. For Army Painter, it's like Necromancer Cloak black, grey.
Corvus black or something like that.
Probably, yeah, that sounds about right.
Or Skaven Blight Dinge, something to that effect.
Like black grey. It's that kind of color.
Yeah.
So it's not just solid black. But go with Soundwave. For me, because I didn't have Quick Mix, this would be the bottom of the list. He's
I would agree with that. Yeah.
He's rough. And it's a shame, because he was partnered up with the best deluxe figure, which was Noise Maze.
Yeah.
And he looks really bad next to Noise Maze, which is a bummer. We've not got two more for part one. We're on to the Ultras now. Again, part two, we'll cover the rest of them. We're on to Red Alert. So this is what if the nerd got into roids in the gym?
And also guns and ammo.
Yes, he got big. This got used quite a few times because it is a pretty good mold, and it's got a lot of things to it. So his vehicle mode is a missile launcher, carrier thing, vehicle. It's a thing. Color scheme wise, he is Red Alert color scheme wise, and in terms of accessories, he still has the same accessories. They are still again stored in his shins, not quite as smoothly, because there's a bit of a gap between the top of the shin and where the real shin is, just because of how the transformation works, because the arms have to go kind of in there. But he has this time a posable claw. He has a mallet which has a little piston joint in it. He also doesn't. He will always have these hands because he's got a new gun, which is the kind of the middle part of the vehicle mode, and this is where you put the missile, the claw, and the hammer. And then obviously he has the missile. His Cyberplanet key is the gun unfurls, and for the missile you put the key in the missile, and for some reason the missile splits in half and it shoots a missile from the missile,
and has lots of funky sounds, which.
The sounds and the lights make sense. The missile firing from the missile, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like a gun firing a gun that fires a gun that fires a bullet. It's like, why?
Yeah,
I don't get it. Apart from it's just a play feature, you know.
I mean, it's almost like it's supposed to be an ICBM that's multi-stage, but.
I think in the show it was used as like an energy railgun thing because the Cyber missile split open, but then because it's a toy feature, it just looks weird.
Yeah.
To then fire a missile. Now, don't get me wrong, transformation's not that complex for him, but he has a good silhouette, and shockingly, with the giant, quite heavy missile on his shoulder, he stands without really any issue.
Yeah, Shocking. He does, and also. He's got a fair bit of posability to him, despite that as well. At least in my experience, he has.
For this day and age, it was pretty decent. Like he had wrist swivels, which was unusual. Elbow bend, bicep swivel. Elbows could spin all the way around. I don't think his arms could move outwards, though. I don't think they could. I don't think there was a joint for that.
No.
The head was on a swivel. The waist was on a swivel. Universal joint for the hip. I think probably a 90-degree bend for the knee as well. So I'd say probably more than what you would be used to in 2006.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Repaints wise, I was going to say he got more. I thought he got more. No, he did get more than 2. He definitely got more than 2.
Did he?
Did he?
Because
Oh,
I mean,
no, maybe he didn't.
I know of these 2. I wasn't aware of any more.
I thought he got more. Well, one of them was Countdown, so they painted him up red and a bit blue, and then silver on the chest. So it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. Little drab, but I count.
Yeah.
It makes sense from like a gameplay, a toy play aspect as well, because Countdown launched a missile. This guy launches a missile as well.
Yeah. Fun way to go from the little mini-con to the big chunky ultra version.
Yeah, you don't actually see that too often. And then the Timelines version, we had him as pre-Beast Wars Megatron, which again isn't too bad. The head sculpt again is a little weird. It's a little off because it's a fan sculpt, obviously. But the color scheme on him works pretty well. On the photos, he doesn't look. He looks kind of like he's gray, but his kind of proper color is what I would consider close to. You can quote me on this: blueberry or raspberry yogurt colored. He's that kind of purple. Oh, another way to describe him is raspberry chewit color. If you remember chewits or opal fruits.
Yes. I can agree with that one. That's accurate.
The purple ones, which were always the best ones. The worst ones were the lemon ones.
Yeah.
And then the green ones. Fuck those things. There was too many of them. But yeah, the Megatrons, again, pretty good. They actually redid his Cyberplanet key a little bit as well, like the rest of them in the BotCon line. But this was a really big, fun, chunky toy. Like, he's really big. How big does it say how big he stands?
Oh, yeah.
No, not here anyway. He was big, though. No.
And I do not have mine anywhere near hand to measure, sadly.
Nah, that's fine.
The Ultra was always a nice, chunky class to deal with in Cybertron. Yeah. It felt like a hefty line to mess around with. Heavy, too.
Very heavy. Yeah. Not too complex either. So you weren't like transforming it for 500 years. It was still a fairly fun, easy transformation, but just loads of gimmicks. Loads of extra features to him, which was nice.
And rolls like a champ.
Yeah, because he had like
8 wheels.
8 big wheels. Big. So we can't really rate him because he's the first one. We have Wing Saber next. I think he was called Sonic Bomber.
Sonic Bomber?
Sonic Bomber in Japan. Yeah. Again, I don't think they were too different. He is the Wing Saber equivalent. Little awkward looking robot mode. I liked he had gun hands. Reminded me of the Dino Megazord from Power Rangers.
Yeah, I liked how there's actually the lever in the forearms where you pull it back and the guns retract enough to actually form a thumb and fingers.
Yes, that was very cute.
But it's a feature that didn't need to exist, but it does.
Yeah, because they could have just asked out and just gone, he does it in the show, or he has normal looking hands in the show, but for the toy, we're not going to bother. To be fair, though, I guess because this guy does not transform, really, that's how they kind of made up for it. He does not do... I think his jet mode, though, is a pretty cool looking jet. He does have a lot of undercarriage, though.
It's a fantastic jet mode.
Yes.
And so heavily armed.
And the robot modes, it's okay. I think the robot mode's okay.
For what this figure does in terms of combining with Prime, I think it goes a bit above and beyond in terms of posability, because we've seen figures that do this that are a lot worse.
Yeah, I think what happened was they looked at Wing Saber from the Energon line and they decided to try and make it a toy. So they had to sacrifice something, and it seems like they sacrificed more of the vehicle mode to make this thing do something. He does have an attack mode. He does have like blades that you stick on the side of his arms, because obviously he can't hold them, so they have to do something.
Yeah.
Then he has this giant gun that just kind of pops over the back of his head.
Actually, he can hold them, because if I remember rightly, if you put them in the small guns to form the hilts, if you get his hands in the right shape, I think he can actually hold them. I'm sure.
Is it finagling it, or is it like they're meant to do that?
I think it's actually meant to, but most
It's
people
been a long time.
miss it. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest. I owned this because I got my version of this at a boot sale as part of a big bunch of figures that were all kind of mixed up parts wise and no instructions. I didn't realize that the aerialons on the back of his wings were swords for about a year.
Yeah, they are kind of hidden. It doesn't show it like... Yeah, if you look at the vehicle picture, you can see them there, but you wouldn't like initially go, oh yeah, you pop them out. Yeah. Unless you had the instructions.
And I didn't know what the small guns were for either.
No, because they just
I didn't realize I
weird.
went with him. I think eventually I found a picture on one of the Transformers fan sites. I was like, oh, right, that's what they're for. And they go in there. Okay, great. And he's had swords all this time. That's awesome. They're not just functional aerialons. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting do. And I think I don't think he looks super good combined with Galaxy Force Prime or Cyber Prime. I think, oddly enough, Galaxy Force Prime looks way better in his standard upgraded mode, and I think Energon Prime looks better with Wing Saber. Like, if we compare the Wing Saber Optimus Prime to this Galaxy Force Sonic Bomber Optimus Prime, I think the other one looks a lot better, to be honest. And I think it's because the wings are really weedy, or they look really weedy on his back.
I think also how they've posed him's not brilliant, because I've done this.
Don't the legs do a little bit more, like on Sonic Bomber? You meant to make it look like a full-on jetpack on his back, right? And I don't know what they've done with the legs here for Sonic Bomber. I think
the
they've
legs
just folded them behind him. That's it.
Well, no, because the guns on his legs are the ones that are from Prime, they've just folded down so that they connect to the guns that have slotted around his feet.
Yeah,
from
I know. Yeah.
Bomber, which,
I mean Sonic Bomber's legs. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Because Sonic Bomber's legs do more because they're like the engines of the jet.
Yeah, they're the engines.
So I would have thought they'd at least, if you pose them correctly, be behind Prime's actual arms to make it again look like jet thrusters.
I think that's what I did with mine, certainly.
I'm sure that's what I did. I thought that was the official way to do it.
And it's just not... This picture's not great because it's not terribly dynamic in posing, and you can do more than this lets on.
Yeah.
I know Cybertron Prime can be a little bit of a brick just because there's not much ankle tilt going on. But
there's just so much on him as well.
Yeah. But
I still think the standard Galaxy Force Prime combined mode is better.
That's fair. I
do like the extra chest piece on this though. Like that's very Brave series, like extra chest piece.
Yeah.
Splits open, doesn't really need to, but it does. I do like the Gatling guns over the top of the shoulders. I think that's nice as well. I don't think he's a great figure because he's been sacrificed to do other things. I think that's my problem with Sonic.
Yeah, I can accept that. Yeah.
And if we compare him to Redler, who we just looked at, Redler's just way better.
Oh yeah,
way better. Did he get any repaints? He got one repaint into movie Wingblade, where they just went, "What if we made him green?" Sorry,
and
not
gray.
Green. Movie. Army green. He's really boring. As is one for the movie repaints. Dull.
Yes. He's lots of greys and greens and ooh.
We're gonna just agree that the standard version's better again.
Yeah, although what was it? There was the Takara exclusive version that's all chromed out. The hell and back.
I mean, it's still the same color scheme. It's just got bits of chrome on it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the same thing effectively.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Scourge, who's almost really good. He has a really good silhouette. He does not have very good balance, despite having ratchets in his joints. And he has, unfortunately, again, the gorilla kind of arm posing. But all the sculpting on him is good. He has, as I say, a really good, strong silhouette. He has a good robot head. And the dragon mode is, again, pretty good. His tail's shit. His generic weapon for the robot mode, again, is kind of shit.
Yeah, sadly.
But the Cyberplanet key gives him 2 extra dragon heads, and in dragon mode, it again just gives him the dragon heads, which is quite fun. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. Again, he's one of those ones that I think looks good, but I don't think plays well, especially again compared to like Red Alert.
Yeah.
This is one I'd like to see redesigned for like Legacy.
Oh yes, absolutely. I would. So much of the Unicron Trilogy would be wonderful to see get that treatment, because there's a lot of designs in there that were so close. They were nearly there. They were, in a lot of ways, they were just too early. They were doing stuff that the engineering really couldn't handle.
Mm-mm.
And to take another swing of them, and a lot of these are, like you say, they're really good designs. There's a lot of really fun silhouettes, color schemes, all the stuff that would get collectors, or just get fans juicing, because
juicing.
Yeah. I mean, at least this guy's color scheme got a great reuse on Prime Predaking. So
yeah. In terms of other color schemes, he's got the Cryo Scourge version, which is blue. It's quite nice. I don't think it's as nice as the original version, and I think in terms of Cryotech versions, this is the weaker Cryotech.
Yeah,
but it's okay. There's also the Classics Predacon Bruticus.
Oh yeah,
which I don't remember.
Neither do I.
This I don't know. Is this the same mold or is this the Legends version of the Legion? It looks like it's the full-on proper version. I don't recognize this at all.
Neither do I.
It looks like he's Scourge, but spelled with a K, and like an Ebo with a little thing above it, like in France. Like not real Scourge. The color scheme, if you don't know, is like I don't know whether this is the lighting of the photo or whatnot, but it's either orange or it's a salmon orange. A really dirty, old-looking gold that kind of transitions into a gray blob, and then brown on the legs, and then like a solid Skywar purple for like the toes. This is weird. A very, very odd color scheme.
That is so bizarre.
It's a G2 color scheme, but not bright. It's a muddy G2 color scheme for some reason.
Yeah, that is.
It's odd.
That's so weird. Yeah.
There is one other color version, which is the Lucky Draw version, which I have, which is kind of gray with blue and purples on it. It's quite nice. It's not one of the better Lucky Draw color schemes, to be honest, but it's interesting at the very least. One of the good things about that one is it comes in a box with a window. At least most of the Lucky Draws I had came in like white boxes, and you couldn't look at them. So this benefit of this one is it actually has it's a standard Galaxy Force box, and it has a window curtain, and you can look at that. I can look at the figure without having to crack into it. That's nice. What a feature.
Yeah.
Scourge, is he better or worse than Sonic Bomber? Because the more I talked about it there, the more I'm thinking he might be worse than Sonic Bomber, because he is very difficult to play with.
Yeah,
Sonic Bomber had like
least...
actual elbows and posability to him. I don't think he did the combination super well, and I think he was hampered by that. But I think he is generally more playable, and I think he's about as convincing, like, because Scourge does not do a lot of transforming. He's very basic for a transformation, and I think...
Yeah, he basically stands up.
Yeah, he stands up and then kind of shunts his like chest forward, and that's about it. So yeah, I'm happy to say he's worse than Sonic Bomber.
Yeah.
We only have 3 left now, baby. We're almost at the finish line. Woo! So we have Leader Starscream, which is effectively small Starscream, but his guns on his chest can move. And one of his swords has been changed into a firing missile gun, and he has a crown.
It's a very nice crown.
He's very big, but it feels like a KO, like an upscaled KO.
Yeah. Yes.
Because he's like, 12 inches tall? He's like Unicron scale, so that's big.
He's huge.
Yeah.
And yet, you can't actually, apart from the extra weapon features you described, there's nothing else really different between him and the Voyager version.
Yeah, the crown's nice because
So-
it's a nice callback to G1. It's the
Yeah,
first time we
yeah.
had it. Oh, Mr.
Yeah.
White says this thing weighs a sodding ton. That's true as well. Probably again because it was designed to be a Voyager, so they weren't worried about like
Yeah.
hollowing out plastic or whatnot. So it's just dense.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it on a shelf once. I picked the box up and then put it back because it was.
I would not recommend you transforming into a jet mode and then like try and paper airplane him to a child's face. The child will not live, probably.
No.
So I don't want to spend too much time on this because it is just Starscream but big.
Yeah.
With lights and sounds, or at least a little bit. So it's like, I don't care. Galaxy
Yeah.
Force Prime.
Yeah.
Like the American version's fine. The Japanese version is better because it's got better paint and whatnot.
Yeah.
Standard Optimus. Well, it's just how it is. This was the era of that. Everything from
Yes.
Japan was way better.
Yes, it was.
Galaxy
Sadly.
Force was kind of the hammering home of that. So Small Prime, better than Fat Prime from Energon.
Yep.
Is he better than Armada Small Prime?
Do you
I
mean
think
Armada Deluxe Prime?
No,
or
no,
Armada.
No, I mean Armada, like Big Prime, but the uncombined form of him.
I
like
would
this.
say so. Yeah.
Well, you think
this
he's
is,
better than that?
Yeah, he's a much nicer figure to play with, for one thing. I mean, that Prime you can't do much with, except transform him into the super mode. This one.
What do you mean? He's got loads of articulation. He's got like elbow bend. He's got like your knee bends. What do you mean you can't
you
do
said-
anything with him?
Well, you said you weren't talking about the deluxe version.
Yeah. He still has posability.
Yeah, but
What do you mean?
Not-
He's got
not
knee
that
bends and all that
much.
stuff because he has to have it for the combined mode.
yeah, this one just feels nicer.
Hang on. I feel like you've just retracted. Do you not think that he has articulation, the Armada Prime?
Not as much as you'd like. For,
Like what? Like what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, so much of what he does is compromised by having to form the torso of the super robot mode.
Like what?
he's got the
'Cause
electronics built
I don't
in.
think it is. I think his like
Yeah?
super mode is compromised, but I don't remember his standard like untransformed smaller part being that compromised.
Yeah, because I mean, you've got
He's got
Some of
wonky.
the-
He's got really wonky proportions. I'll agree with you there, but he's got like decent knee bends, and his legs are on a slight universal joint. I don't think they swing outwards too well, but they move
Yeah.
backwards and forwards, and they do have a knee bend.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to figure out what you mean by it, though.
Well, if you were to compare the two in hand,
Yeah,
Cybertron Prime,
he has more articulation.
yeah, he's a more complete figure in his own right. Whereas
Yeah.
Armada Prime really needs the trailer to shine. On his own, on his own. You might as well just have the deluxe version because that does more.
Yes, I kind of would agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you need him. I wouldn't say he doesn't. I wouldn't say that the Galaxy Force version doesn't shine on its own without combining it because it's better when it's combined, kind of like the Armada one.
But I think if you didn't have the trailers, that combined mode.
I guess a good way to phrase it
Take
is you don't need a deluxe Galaxy Force Optimus Prime while you
Yes.
needed a deluxe
Yeah.
Armada Optimus
Absolutely.
Prime.
Yeah.
It's probably
that's
a good way to phrase
Thank
it.
you for better clarifying.
No, it's all right. It's good to kind of like clarify what people mean by things. He does have joints in his. He has a what do you call it? Finger joint, not like individual fingers, but four fingers, so he can open and close his hand. Because his gun doesn't peg into a hole; it kind of pegs into the side of the hand, kind of like a Masterpiece toy. Funnily enough, He has thigh swivels, a knee bend. I don't know if it's 90 degrees. I don't think it is.
Not quite, no.
It's close enough, I suppose.
Yeah.
The legs are on universal joints again. The elbow, you have a bicep swivel. You have a elbow bend, which might be over 90 degrees. It might not be. I don't remember. No waist swivel. Head's on the swivel, and the arms spin around. And they move out a little bit as well. The truck mode is not very good. It needs the trailer to look good. It looks kind of weird without it.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And the head is clearly visible from the top.
Yeah, it would have been nice if there was just like something just to plop over the top. Cybertron or Galaxy 4 seems to be the line where it's just like, I can see its head. We don't care. We don't care. Tough.
Yeah.
Suck it up. I will say that the Legion version of this figure of Prime is really bad because it doesn't have a trailer. So when you're transforming it into this mode, it's really rough. It's really rough.
I will say the fact that his toes don't fold up in any way, that does not help at all.
It's really annoying because the feet do fold down. It's because there's no gap in the... What do you call them? The back of the calf muscles. The calf muscles don't have a little cut in them for the feet to go into. I don't see any real reason they should.
Yeah.
Do. Oh no! Wait.
Fair,
I know why they don't.
They do make use of it because they use the feet to help connect the trailer.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they need to be up for that.
Yeah.
It's just without it looks weird, like you say, because he's not a truck. He is a fire engine, kind of.
Very heavily armed fire engine.
It's with wings that can fly because it has a flight mode in quotation marks, big quotation marks. And I don't think any of these look like either a ladder or something that would pump out water.
No.
I think they do attempt to, like, on the big gun, they have these white painted lines on it, which I
think they're supposed to be ladder.
Yeah, that's how I read it. I don't know. I don't know how you paint bits of white on and go, oh, that's a ladder. And it's not a gun. No, it's a ladder. Look at the white paint.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's what you say. You can put the force chip into the cannon. It splays it open a little bit awkwardly. It's not a very smooth action.
Yeah.
And then there's lights and sounds that can pew from the gun. On the other side, there are drop-down missiles, so if you put it into that, then extra missiles kind of unfold, which is all right.
Yeah.
Why is the first super robot mode so bad? That is not any mode. The wings are upside down. This isn't a mode.
They've really badly mistransformed that.
They've mistransformed it and said it's another mode. It's not another mode. That's not another mode. They also show the flight mode, which was in the show and was stupid there as well.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it fly. They fly now. They fly now. They fly now. You just accept it. The robot mode, the super mode, when it's correctly transformed, it's really cool. He's got extra guns on the side of his knees, and he's got the underslung weapons, which remind me of 3rd edition Devastator squads from Warhammer.
See, that I've always liked how he has the guns underslung. That's a nice look for those.
I think the only disappointing thing is there's no handles for him to hold on to them.
Yes, that is a bit of a disappointment.
Now, the first time they did that was with the hybrid selection. Is that what it was called? It was hybrid something.
It was one of those weird, overpriced metal hybrid ones that you could never actually buy for anything resembling decent money and then sold out straight away.
Oh, I got it for okayish money, and then I think I sold it for silly money later on because I didn't like it. It was kind of floppy.
I thought about a lot of those, to be fair, the hybrids.
I think it's because it was just like you say, metal and then random plastic, and the tolerances weren't really sorted. But that one had handles on, so
did the Siege Galaxy Prime have handles for its super mode?
I don't think so. Yeah. But I'm not I never had that, so I don't know.
No, neither did I, annoyingly.
No, if I was going to get that mold, it would have been the Sentinel Prime. Nova
Prime. Yeah.
It would have been that. I didn't get bothered at the end.
Yeah.
Mainly because I didn't know the DNA kit. because that wasn't out at
Yeah.
the time. And I looked at it and went, yeah, it's kind of, you know. But back to this. What an issue with it is because they've extended the legs so much, the arms come across as very, very wee.
They do a little bit, yeah. I say a little bit. Yes, they're massively twee.
Massively. Also, they
sadly.
haven't unfolded the little bits on the side of Prime's head for some reason because he has extra ear flaps that you fold out. It's like, hey.
Yes, I always liked that he had those, and also his faceplate could be moved up and down. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, big lever in the back of his head. It was nice. It's like,
Yes.
oh, that's cute. Yeah, that's fun. Now he means business. He's definitely more restricted in this mode, but who's the most articulated as a super mode? Armada Prime, definitely not. Energon Prime had.
I'd probably say Energon because Energon, the weight's better distributed.
Yeah.
Now I haven't had the Windblade version attached to him, but just the basic Energon Prime.
To be fair, that's
mode,
what I was thinking of as well.
Yeah, it's really nicely balanced. All four of the limbs. So
this one does have like good feet spread, just because like of like how far the feet go forward, and then he's got extra calf muscle parts on the back.
I mean, I'd say this one feels more cohesive.
Yeah, yes, Robot. It's still arguably the best out of them in terms of like you put it together. It's fairly easy to get together. It's fairly solid to get together.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention you can open up his chest plate and then he's got like an
extra
great bit and then the matrix is in there. That's nice. It's not just you open the window and the matrix is there. You have to pull down another part as well.
Yeah, that was really cool back in the day.
Yeah, novel. It felt a bit more like the 86 movie. Because whenever they do G1 Optimus Prime, usually it's just the window opens and then there's the matrix there.
Yes, yeah.
Sometimes it's a little bit more, but not much.
Steps, it's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, this one's good. It's solid. How many redos? I think he got quite a few. Oh, no, he didn't get any. He got like one other redo, which was Cybertron Galaxy Force Prime in 2006.
Oh, with black. Yeah.
Yeah, where he's just black for some reason. And I don't know why. He's red and black. And then red. Yeah. They went two-tone color scheme for him. What a lame, boring skin. They did the shitty quote-unquote super mode here again for the photos. The fuck? It's not a thing. It was never a thing. So he really did not get any kind of looking in terms of like repaints. I guess that's makes sense.
A real surprise to me because
I guess it's because of the size of him.
Yeah,
it's probably like they don't want to risk because he's got lights and sound. He's a big toy. They probably don't want to risk like putting out a toy this big and this expensive, and then on a crapshoot that they can get people to buy it again that aren't Optimus Prime colors. Maybe.
I guess
it's odd though. I would agree that you'd want to recoup your losses.
I mean, you'd think that a version of this in like Nemesis colors would sell like hotcakes. So
that's the obvious thing, yeah, and it's the easy thing too because that would probably sell. Yeah, it's weird. But this one's really good, solid little robot.
Absolutely.
I'd say. Is he who we had for Ultra? He's better than Starscream.
Yes,
he's better than Starscream. He's the only other Ultra we've talked about. So yes, easily better than Starscream. We won't talk about the add-on with the Savage Claw mode, but I'll briefly mention it's shit. He's the combined Sonic Wing mode is better than the Savage Claw. But we'll get to that when we talk about Leo Breaker.
Yes.
And the last one for tonight is Primus, who I've not had. I played a little bit with Dave's, but not a huge amount because I didn't want to mess with it.
He's a hefty bit of kit, Primus.
How is he compared to Unicron? Because I'd say Unicron is really good and solid. And is that the same for Primus?
In my experience, Primus was... The big flaw of Primus I found was his feet, because he doesn't have them. Not really.
Are they like too small for what he is?
It's all right. You know how the Unicron has those nice big talony feet? Yeah. Primus doesn't have that. He basically has two arches that fold out from the bottom of the planet, effectively.
When you say the arches, are the arches flat, or are they literally an arch and only like the toes touch the ground?
They're kind of an arch that the toes touch.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I mean, to be fair, they are stable.
Yeah.
But they kind of let it down.
It
You know?
could, you'd like a bit more stability, a bit more of a better foot coverage kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
And
sense.
I mean, the fact that so much of it is reliant on not just cyber keys, but that Omega lock to actually do anything.
Yeah, what does
It's
the
probably-
Omega lock do?
It unlocks a whole bunch of really big guns. Because he's got forearm cannons, unlocks various pop-out guns for...
Is that with the Cyber Planet key, or is that done with the Omega lock?
I think you have to use the lock to... Yeah, 'cause I think the lock is what you use to unlock the guns, and they pop up, and then you put it into his chest, and the shoulder guns swing out.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, for the God of Light, he's packing.
Well, he ain't messing around. I mean, we say
No.
that he got his ass absolutely slapped in the show against Starscream. Just
Yeah,
sad.
that's a poor showing for your God if Starscream's slapping him around. That's
with a shitty crown. Yeah, he's big, but who cares?
yeah.
I will say Primus has a really good silhouette. Like I loved all the molded detail that they mostly got on the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's as smooth as Unicron in a lot of ways. But it does have the benefit of like having the black little feet in the planet mode, so it can kind of stand in planet mode where Unicron sort of couldn't unless you just kind of faced him the wrong way. So his mouth was pointing upwards.
Yeah, there's some nice little touches like how they sculpted Kaon onto basically the ass end of the planet, like this corrupted boil.
Yeah.
Iacons all nice and golden towards the top. I mean, it actually does feel like it is Cybertron, you know, but because Cybertron's always been this weird looking planet to look at.
Mm-mm.
And the fact that they did sculpt it in multiple colors of plastic as well, rather than keeping it just a giant silver ball, I think helped it a fair bit in just looking interesting.
Yeah, it's not boring to look at visually. Like you say, it could easily be boring.
Now, I never had either of the repaints. I've only got the original version, which I'm quite happy with, to be fair. It's in the loft in a box alongside Unicron.
Yeah.
Both waiting for when I have space to display both, because it'll happen eventually, honest. Will do.
Copium.
Yeah. I don't think I'd ever want to see them. I don't know if I'd want to see them try again. Certainly not in the same scale they did Unicron for HasLab. I mean, Don Figueroa did a lovely piece of artwork, but this, I'm not sure if it came before this or if the artwork came after. But there's a lot of parallel between, but the artwork feels like a much more complete design. This feels like the top of the robot is great, and below down you go, it just kind of starts to trail off because they were thinking no one was paying attention to it.
What were the repaints of it? Was he actually changed color-wise?
One of them had a darker blue and a really bright orange, and some Energon effect blue on it as well. I think that might have been the Last Night version.
Okay. Can't find specifically the color scheme, but that's okay. It doesn't matter too much, to be honest.
Yeah, and you got the creator version, which is I actually hadn't seen the creator version. If you just scroll down, I think just went
Is that that's the gray one?
Yeah,
that's a bit boring. I thought that it almost looks like a prototype.
Yeah, it's a bit boring, sadly.
I think this is the fear of what the original Primus could have been, right? Until they actually added the extra color to him.
Yeah, but you can see what I mean there from the feet. How it's basically
they are weird feet. Holy shit,
they are. I mean, to be fair, they are quite nice and stable. But after Unicron's feet, you just think, oh.
I thought TFU was taking the piss. That is a base mode and a ship mode.
Those are official modes.
They don't look like anything.
No, they do not. That's simply them finding ways to use. Well, the ship is half transformed.
Yeah, he's just face down on the ground.
Yep. And the base mode is just all the guns deployed.
Yeah. That's odd.
It really is.
Why not? Like you say, they got to find something to do with it. So, fuck it, I'll do. That's good.
And I think he does have a lot of stuff going on. I mean, he's got 2 massive cannons on either arm. There's 2 big shoulder cannons. There's a load of other features built in there. He's got lots of hand articulation.
Yep.
It's just loads of guns in his legs and stuff and missiles.
It's pretty good.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I saw it and I was like, they've done Primus? No fucking way.
Yeah. I don't know why I never picked it up. Maybe I was just like, I don't want another big Transformer. Or maybe, I think I know what it was. I think it was because it was part of the Cybertron line. And I was like, oh, it's not on Galaxy Force. I can go fuck itself then. That's probably what it was.
He was the most expensive figure you could buy at that point. Because I think he and Unicron I both bought when they were on clearance for like 20 quid a pop. From Asda.
Yeah.
But for RRP, they were both like 50 quid each.
Yeah, for the time, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, they're massive figures, even today.
Huge. Yeah.
I mean, they're bigger than Commanders. They're very near. The Titans aren't that much bigger than them, in all fairness.
No.
Not
these
by
have
much.
a lot of like features to them as well. Like this has more features to it than the Arc, I'd say.
Yeah.
The only thing that kind of balances out the Arc is you get what's his name? The Teletran 1
Mainframe.
Yeah. You get Mainframe, so at least you get a deluxe with him as well.
But you know what you don't get with Primus, but you do get with the Arc? Hollowness.
Oh.
Primus and Unicron are both lovely and solid.
That's true.
Yeah. So I'll give them that point. But you know what? Given I don't think anyone expected to get Primus or Cybertron.
No, never. They could have just left this as a like character only and not made into a toy easily.
Yeah.
But they did it.
And they did it. And it actually looked pretty decent. So fair play to them. If you see one, I do recommend picking one up if you find it for a decent price.
Well, what do you consider decent though, by today's standards? Because that's a hard question.
It is. I mean, like I say, I got my one for far end of RRP. But
like, would you say retail price if you get it for 50 quid these days? Because it'll probably sell for more, maybe.
If you could get it for retail, buy it for retail.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to remember how much the movie repaint went for. I think that was about 80 or 90. It was expensive. One they did for the last night. So if you can find a version of Primus for under 100 quid. 50 is preferable, but under 100 is not bad.
Okay. That's what you recommend, at least.
I'd say so. I mean, your mileage may vary, and that's perfectly fine, because it's a lot of money to part with. But,
oh, yeah, definitely.
But it's a nice figure to have in the collection.
And I think with that, we'll end part 1. We'll be back next week with part 2, because I'm very tired. And I'm sure Big D is as well. So thank you, Big D. Where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
I am on all the interwebs as David Kelly. Look for either this charming visage or a picture of Cup with his Stoogie. I co-host the Fluff and Buster show with Mr. White.
When's the next episode?
I believe it's his pick next, so I'm waiting for him to tell me what he wants to do. But we have just come off a marathon recording sesh in the last fortnight where we were doing all of Lord of the Rings movies. So we've got a lot for Mr. Gruff to edit. So a break might be not a bad thing. And I'm Mr. Gruff's co-host for his Deeper Dive series, it seems, on the Fluff and Hammer.
I like how you say it seems.
Well, he posts. Well, when he posts about it, he always seems uncertain as to who he's got on. It's like, but it's always me.
Well, it might be some of the voices in his head, though. You don't know. Nobody knows.
This is true. I'm also a contributor to the UKAnime.net, where I'm one of their resident robot mecha heads. So, unsurprising, I know. I occasionally write stuff there, and otherwise, I'll normally found posting pictures of my various hobby exploits.
Oh,
They're
there was one.
currently
Sorry, Snafu Gundam in chat mentioned to look up the Last Night Primus color scheme. Have you seen that one?
I think that's the one that's got the bright orange and
That's the one.
the dark blue. Yeah,
yeah, that might be my favorite color scheme. Looking at it now,
it's not a bad color scheme. It's just a tad unexpected.
what do you mean? You mean
It's
in a good
such
way? Oh,
I think in a good way. It's such a bright orange that's not what you would expect to see, especially in this movie toy line.
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's very almost G2y, which I like.
Yeah, there's a
Which
bit
I'm
of
down
that to
with.
it.
Yeah, no, this would be
But
the version I'd go for. I think.
I mean,
Personally.
I do think its planet mode is more cohesive, which is nice.
Yes, and then he kind of explodes, and it's like his violent lava innards.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
heat.
Feel my burning rage.
Yeah, some of that. Yeah. Thank you, Snafu. Yeah, this is my preferred version of him, I
Yeah,
think.
cheers, dude.
Yeah. Anywhere else people can find you on the internet, or is that it?
No, that's kind of it. I'm on all the socials as David Kelly, looking for a weird Welsh spelling, and like I say, this handsome mug. And yeah.
Cool. You
That's
can find
me.
me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy. You can find us on the Moonbase 2 forums, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. We're on ccbunker.weebly.com. And just look for Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast. If you want to join us live for the show, we are on pretty much every Sunday at 9 till 10. That's when we usually start, depending on when I'm able to finish work effectively.
Yeah. Question mark.
Yeah, so it's like aim for like 9:30. That's kind of like what I'm hoping to try and do and try and keep it consistent, but it's like 9 till 10 mostly. And you could be like the people here joining us today. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you,
folks.
Big D, as well, for joining me tonight.
No worries. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Blitzwing, for eating your Energon snacks happily.
Nom, 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 nom.
And thank you, Ravage, for dancing. He's been dancing for like nearly 3 hours.
I think we need to get him some medical attention in that case. That's not healthy.
I mean, to be fair, if you look at his eyes, he looks like a cat that has been dancing for 3 hours.
This is very true. He's gone through the wall. There's no conscience there. He's purely on reflex. He's gone.
He's remembering the days when Freddos were only 10p. Well, until next week, everybody. Well, we'll continue with part 2. Ravage will continue dancing until then. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.